This is also the first real 1K subscriber threshold that we've been able to pass without that Umbrella Guy stream to go and help out on that case. Although, since he's streaming right now, well, I should not be surprised that we've got people already over there. But remember, there's more than just one thing to do around here, around my parts of the world. We've got plenty of other times and plenty of other spaces to check out. I know that one of the reasons why it's always been such an uphill battle for me and getting my channel up to the level like this, beyond simply not reinforcing the message or any crap like that, is also the idea of not having just one subject get beaten to the ground. Somebody who only ever wants to complain about Gina Carano being fired off of Star Wars, or somebody who only ever wants to talk about one court case, or somebody who just wants to go on about Star Wars, or somebody who just wants to obsessively bash Disney and remind you of who they're friends with on Twitter. That's not how my channel's been. That's not how it's not. That's how it's always going to be. That way is not like that. So the more you hear it, the more you see what I do that is my own thing, and pretty much always means I'm going to have something to go up against. Any kind of step forward I make is going to lead to there being about 47 other steps that get pulled out from under me. Now, hence certain subjects where if you so much as even mention them during a video, then you can't help but notice all those, all of the whatever potential content that is dropping down, dropping down, dropping down. And then you find something else that was on my mind instead of bashing Disney, something like the most recent really successful video of mine by this channel standards being the video about the layoffs that are going on in the video game industry right now between Sony. If you just look at the developers that are exclusively working under Sony, like Insomniac, I believe, but I know for sure Naughty Dog, and how far away Naughty Dog has become from their origins as being the developer behind the mascot for Sony, being the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Yeah, that is something to see, that the video game industry itself is going to have the kind of reckoning that Hollywood has been going through in general. And I also would say, to the point of there being, if you saw SAG-AFTRA and you saw the strike there, and with the Writers Guild of America, definitely there's going to be such things as that. While I do not think that the video game industry has any kind of guild or union that way, still, then all that means is that there's going to still be protests like that, but it'll be in the formation of some kind of league or some kind of union, or trying to get one off the ground. And that is definitely a thing that actually would be worth more interesting for me to talk about than whether or not how long it's really been that Bob Iger has been dumping his Disney stock. There is more than one corporation out there in the world. I know it's just that Disney's a nice big target, that if you are geeks and gamers, that means all you got to do is bash that for the algorithm to go in 1,000 different miles to get yourself up and up and up. But there are other companies out there that are doing things that would be worth attention. When I thought the whole idea of being out there in the online sphere and doing commentary on some subject or another was the idea of bringing some kind of attention towards something that would deserve to be brought forward into the public square, which, well, mass layoffs at big AAA video game developers definitely deserves that kind of attention, that kind of talk. So I'm actually glad that ladies video talking about these video game layoffs was this week's successful video. It's actually a big reminder that I got the whole month in notification subject from YouTube Studio. They sent me here's your month in review, and they show all the different videos and streams and shorts that came up. And what I did was this, I think, actually, in terms of just basic numbers of views, even with me still seeing views being removed from videos in real time when trying to update their analytics. Yeah, this is still, I think, last month, February, whether or not it was a leap year or not, was the most prolific views of any month I've had in the whole time I've been doing regular content since 2019, which is a very massive bump up in confidence and success, because the last, like around the tail end of as it was about to turn into winter last year, I had a big bump in views and subscribers, looking at the bar graphs of my channel analytics. And then it went down a bit with the new year, with January having a big step down in views and new subs. That's really what I focus on when it comes to the analytics, is how many views and how many new subscribers. And suddenly going from down to now, in the shortest month of the year, firing up to the highest viewed month of the whole time I've been around, is very, very nice and very good to see. Even with the last couple of days, where both January and February, the last few days of the month, it seems a spontaneous jumping down in views and also in subscribers either being lost or of the sub increase being at a much more of a decline than in the previous days. But that is a thing where it teaches you about how to keep above what the algorithm is trying to do to detract from your audience, to detract from your following. And that's already a hard enough problem to deal with in general, of suddenly you see this video style that you had been doing that had been trending now suddenly be sapped away from you, and you didn't do anything different. But now it's almost like the algorithm is some type of learning evil AI, like the Borg, that's trying to adapt to keep you from having any kind of major bankable following. And that's hard enough. But then you look at the kind of like fickle bitch kind of audience, where you see people where if anybody that's even slightly more popular than you is even around, they'll immediately leave you in the dust the second that your content inconveniences them. That's why, the thing with I see on when it comes to all I've mentioned before about when a Camelot 331 or something like Geek Gamers or wherever, they snap their fingers and everybody runs there immediately. Okay. That's the kind of thing that can really make somebody get a little short with the type of audience that would disappear from that in order to hear the exact same content and the exact same statement about the exact same subject that they have been hearing, and yet somehow my content could be of similar or parallel or identical type of phase, and yet they'll still just ignore it because, oh wait, this guy has a bigger number than you. So that's the difference between the type of people. Yeah, the followers, they just follow, and the leaders actually lead. Although remember, still in this kind of sphere, saying leading is quote unquote, yeah, that's really much more of a quote unquote. That's where air quotes like Dr. Evil very much count as something that you should say. But that's why I've always been the type that does not let up on what it is I'm doing in the content I make or in anything else you see on the channel. That's why you have things that if they're done steady or if they're just done in a slower pace, but you actually are still getting it produced, that's what really counts. Hence things like right here, you see, people have probably wondered, those who have been paying attention long enough, that now that I'm finally getting Tanya drawn, you wonder where the actual story of this comic is. And hello to Taylor Swift greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU. That's well, somebody showed up at the beginning of this right now. I know that yes, that Umbrella guy is in the middle of his upteenth anti-Amber Heard stream. So anybody from that group, of course, is going to immediately be over there and completely enwrapped by that. That same thing for the last 4 or 5 years now. But also there's details like this where, you know what I did? These little things, basic little pads that I would get in the mail, or that people I know would get in the mail and then send to me just because they already had enough little notepads to writing things down when talking on the phone or whatever. These are what I'm using for having written the story of Tanya. And these are just a few samplers of them. Hey, we've got this is one, and this is a pad where I didn't rip off the pads. Other ones you see, yeah, these are just the sheets I tore apart, and I have to make sure to keep them in the right order, because then if not, then it's a matter of, okay, now I just have to kind of guess, or it becomes a form of something called the cut-up technique, which was a method of writing that the beat writers did back in, I believe, the 50s. Most famously, William Burroughs, where he would go and write like a full chapter of whatever was like the new book he'd be doing, or it would be like a full manuscript. And then what he would do is take the pages and literally cut them up in one form or another. One would be to take pages and cut them into 4 corners and then rearrange them and just completely rewrite the page over again, and using all this strange assembly of new or disorganized words into making up a whole new story or a whole new writing method. But remember, things like that kind of technique, that would be better fit for something like my first comic, Pain Machines, which was far more abstract, far more cerebral, far more bizarre than what I would have done with Tanya, because Tanya is really my first attempt at a honest to God, not psychoanalytical kind of sphere of the brain, and having a direct, coherent beginning, middle, end kind of story, where there is a specific way to draw the comic, there's a specific way to write it and letter it and all that. that is somewhere, that is a place you go that requires that real kind of commitment and direct formation of building the story. So there's no way that that little type of druggy idea of how to write in some abstract way is something I can really get away with. Because I remember, yeah, the beats, as they were called, pretty much all of them were drug addicts in some form or another. So I'm pretty sure that the kind of story that Tanya represents would not be something they would like. Well, one of the main things is that there actually are, things that happen. A lot of those writers were just a lot of guys that were high and or drunk and high who would then go off and just whatever rambling and coherent and crazy batshit gorilla stuff they'd be typing out, and that would be the way it is. While say the tradition of what Tanya is a part of with the world of, I wouldn't say pot boiler, but more like pulp fantasy kind of stories. Those stories have always been built on a concise, direct, sharp form of beginning, middle, end kind of story of something where there is definitely a B C plot with a very strongly defined magnetic lead character around it. And it's really based off of you have your protagonist and you've got a story full of action. And that's your structure. That's what you got to set off to. That's what Robert E. Howard really deserved to get credit for developing. Because yes, J.R.R. Tolkien, the majority of what you see in fantasy writing since then hasn't built on Lord of the Rings. But while Tolkien was somebody who did write and publish and all that, it was Robert E. Howard who was writing and getting these things published long before him. And you look at Howard's most famous characters, your Conan and Cull and Solomon Kane, the three I would mention the most. Those are all there before I think even The Hobbit was written and published, because you had the late 1920s, early mid 1930s was when Howard had his writing career and he was getting published and working until he took his own life with a snub-nosed revolver to the head. But then you go on beyond that and you see what it was, the groundwork he laid behind, and what other great legendary figures in his circle. Well, mainly the other big one of that era, of that circulation of pulp writers from different parts of the country. The big ones are Howard and H.P. Lovecraft, although Lovecraft mostly specialized in doing horror, and also he was a guy that is the one that really has traversed their pulp magazine origins, because of Lovecraft's popularity that goes all the way from the most low culture kind of stuff when it comes to plush toys of the Cthulhu mythos characters and video games and even tabletop role-playing games. But also you get major beautiful stuff like the very highly esteemed academic examinations of his work and very sharply, concisely written biographies that have all of the most revered sources behind them from all the most revered universities involved in tracing American literature, which is something that, as far as I know, with Robert E. Howard, as respected and as influential and as multimedia successful as his creations are, I'm pretty sure that Howard can't lay claim to any kind of intense academic respect and of his work. But at the end of the day, whether the academics respected them or not wouldn't really matter, because what matters is who it is that are still getting to be able to profit from their work. That's what the publishers and that's what all of those other people that have done, the role-playing games and toy lines out of Lovecraft or Howard's characters really care about, is hey, this is something that actually has an audience we can sell from. One of the original major tabletop role-playing games out there, I know it was created sometime after Dungeons and Dragons, but not too long afterwards, the Call of Cthulhu, which, remember how the way that a franchise or a thing can go and break up and work up. And hello to MMA Kings King Jr., straight from Discord, actually. I'd like to thank Nodgernal for inviting me onto his Discord there, because now we've got some new friends to the channel right here, including our friend right here, MMA Crease, I would say, who's come in here on account of that Discord. So, well. It appears that opening that Discord did something right, did something well, and now we've got to go and spread the word. I mean, that's why now on his server, I've been there putting as much promotion for my things on there as I would ever do on my server. And also, let's go in and see a little bit of what we've been doing lately. Yes. Now we get to see the finished results of last night's Red Zeo Ranger. And this was one of those nights where I decided to do different poses for color and pen and ink. Although on the pen and ink one, you can see the physique of the character much more completely than you would for the other one. And remember, I survive or even thrive based off of your direct support. So when you want to go and see my work and you want to go and show some support, but you can always drop in a super chat. And besides dropping in a super chat, you can go and become a channel member. My channel memberships are only $2.99, or you can even gift them to people. And beyond that, there's also the link to my art store, which I will give you all right here in the chat right now. There you go. Follow the link into my store and you can go and buy whatever. There's all the artwork you see up there. You can see even commission an original piece, or if you like what you see here, any artwork I show that is not available in the store, simply drop in a $30 donation and any one of these will be yours with a $30 donation. And beyond that, beyond Zero Ranger 5 Red, there's also some other characters you might have heard of, like our friend Spike Spiegel right here. Oh, yes. Very nice. Got the... Yes, definitely going for the anime version of him. Don't even bother with the awful Netflix thing. Let's all just go back to acting like that never happened. And well, speaking of things that it wasn't really a failure or anything, but it doesn't seem to be getting any kind of traction one direction or another. We've got Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender right here. The same thing applies with all this. Any one piece right there, you make a $30 donation to my store, will get you any one, or if you donate 50, you get two. And hello to Nagardnall199 right here. Yes, thanks to this gentleman, we now have some new people coming into the stream right here. So that is fun. Everyone saying hello. And well, we've got a lot of people coming in now, or at least some more people than others. Yeah, that's another reason why networking is so important, because if you expect the algorithm to go and do anything on your behalf, if you're trying to grow a channel, trust me, it's not going to go that way unless, of course, you tell them what they want to hear, or you already are some kind of prick that's already established some way or someone else, and you can just walk on in there and get all that. Then we've got Sokka right there. Then there's the Fire Lord, except this one we have two versions of him. Oh, yes. And if you go and ship out, if you get multiple pieces, do not worry, because they all do have combined shipping. They all come in together into one big package, should you be interested in multiple pieces, including our little lady right here. The two of them. And the same lady, little lady waterbender right there. Very nice. What's next? A little Zuko right there. And Motor City Comic-Con is coming up in May. And yes, the voice of Zuko himself is going to be one of the guests. Oh, Mr. Dante Bosco. Amongst also some other people, like we've got the multiple Power Rangers actors, and especially William Shatner is going to be a guest at Motor City this year. Why? Because he's a Shatner and you're not. Why? Because he has the magnetism. He has that Shatner skill. What the French call a certain, well, they just call it Shatner. Oh, yeah. Then we have the Heath Ledger Joker, done in our increments right here. Once again, of two. Of two there are, no more, no less. Always two there are. Of this man right here. And MMA says, Dante Bosco is cool as hell. I already met him before. Well, I know he's been to conventions around the country and all that, but just never one I can recall around here. And well, also the idea when you look at the guy and remember, yeah, the first big thing people remember him from is Hook, and that was the early 90s, and yet in now it's actually more than 30-year-old film now, and still you're gonna go and Google his age, because the guy would have been like teenage or something like preteen in Hook, and then like a decade plus later, he still could have convincingly played high school kids. So now just how old is this bastard, and what exactly are his genes to apparently still look like a 25-year-old, where for all we know, he may be past 50 now or something. I know I can find the guy. I'm seriously like that is some like maybe he's secretly one of the immortals in Highlander or something like that. But those are genetics that we ought to look into. There might be some new revolution in the world of skincare for a guy to look like that and still look like that. That is not something that just comes across lightly. So something slipped around and fell out, but other ones we are doing right here, we've got, because of FF7 Rebirth, and because when I've done Star Wars art, it doesn't seem to sell, but when I do FF7 stuff, people seem to love it. We've got from FF7 Rebirth, we've got Aerith and her little getup right here. Isn't she nice? Very nice as well. And a delayed reaction to the censorship of Rogue's sweet ass, literally sweet ass in the X-Men 97 game. I mean, movie. I mean, well, we're not going to watch it anyway. The only thing that's the only positive traction that's going to be coming from X-Men 97 is all the people online that are going to be mocking the hell out of it. If anything, your neurotics or geeks and gamers, they should go to what these modern Disney studios and other studios that are as, self-obsessed with woke shit as them, and thank them every year when it comes to Christmas time, whatever. They should be sending them a thank you letter for continuing to produce all this unwatchable crap. So then the people who actually profit from it are the people online that are laughing in its face. E.g., like as with what happened with Starfield. Which, for a guy who already had very, very much made it in the online sphere, got an even bigger boost in his social media following, as well as his subscriber count going up from Starfield and his rant about the stupid fucking pronouns. And the real pièce de résistance of FF7 and anything being Tifa. Tifa Jugs, right then, right there. Always fun, always nice. Go around to any big convention that will involve gaming or anime, you'll see no cosplay of Starfield, and for 20 plus years, you'll see a whole metric ton of Tifa from FF7 in one form or another. They love it, they love her, and also her heavy breasts that make you wonder how strong her back is if she's able to hold herself up like that. Now, this is a strange combo, but you like Pee-wee? Yes, Pee-wee is sad death recently. Then there's Aang. One last big crack at the last Airbender franchise. Right there. Going through. This is all the most recent work that I've been doing that the channel has been showing off. Let's organize them over. Lucky for me, I do have a nice little table off to the side to do. Oh, yeah. Don't want anything to drop because I can be accident prone. Then we've got The Rocketeer, an American classic of the greatest generation era, World War II, although he was a comic book character created in the 80s, but it's the spirit of the era he really embodies perfectly well. And because Godzilla -1 did so well, we've got Godzilla right there. Knowing you all love that big lizard man. I was about to call him a big lug, but yeah, Godzilla is not exactly a big lug. He's more of a ferocious, irradiated disaster area that will stop at nothing to just consume and destroy. So be careful. I would say tread lightly, but humanity is nothing but a pile of ants in compared to Godzilla when he gets into one of his moods and comes ashore to smash the hell out of something. And now Godzilla -1, there as proving that maybe in cinematic form, we should be paying more attention to what the Japanese are doing. And it's like at the movies, we're now starting to see what people, when it comes to commentating on the comic business, have been saying for years on end about manga whooping American comic books ass. And they've been doing it more and more to the point where I've seen with my own eyes of people either doing uploads or streaming, where they'll go to Barnes and Noble or someplace like that, and you think they've got all this comic book stuff, but no, it's pretty much all dying, while our manga aisles continue to expand and expand and expand. Yes. Manga aisles in major bookstores and the selections and the sales of manga, say, on Amazon, even though I disagree with trying to say it's all manga that should be replacing American comic books, I would say you should look more into what the French are doing. But yes, it's still there. It's still another business where the foreign companies out there are whipping the ass of what American industry has been doing these days. Although in France, I believe last year there was $1.5 billion of profit. Yes, profit from the European comic book industry, and that is a rare, rare gem. I should really look into more. I think during the pandemic, I saw a statistic that one in every fourth book that was purchased in France in 2020 was a specific comic series called Asterisk that's been going around in France for years on end and has actually been the subject of a prolific live action film adaptation series, including one film in the series where you got to see Monica Bellucci as Cleopatra, which I would definitely recommend seeing that, if only for how she looks in all those sexy little Cleopatra outfits that they would put her in, because she's just that dirty. And if you want some examples from my personal collection of the great European stuff out there, well, I've got a little one right here that comes with a very nice scope. And thanks to the people of Dark Horse for keeping this going. The Mobius Library, as in their collections in hardcover of the most respected French comic creator of all time, Jean Giraud. And this series, The World of Edina. Just look at that cover alone, and this is definitely a guy with a lot of scale and visual imagination to his work. And also, when you look at the way he draws, for the most part, he's very much into the European comic tradition of building up work based off of pure line work, as opposed to, especially in the wake of Jim Lee's success in Marvel Comics, where everything is about how much detail of rendering, cross-hatching, and things like that you can put into it. While here's a two-page spread, just a random two-page spread from Edina, and there you've got Mobius giving you a whole bizarre world of ships taking different shapes and shifting and swinging all over, just with the cleanest, simplest line work, the most basic, bare bones kind of panels and pages like this. The visual storytelling is in the panels for him, not in some elaborate layout, which I would say the basic meat and potatoes panel arrangements is something that, with the work I've done, I don't really follow. But hey, remember, you don't question all-time grandmaster. If that is the method of somebody who's been working in the business prolifically and was an all-time international icon, yeah, don't question that. And we got a MMA bringing them. People just buy old comics from Marvel, DC. I plan on getting some Batman and X-Men. Yeah, I'd recommend that. I've been getting a bunch of omnibuses lately. There was two really nice omnibuses from the original, the real classic X-Men stuff. Chris Claremont was writing. The first omnibus, the first one of the first 2 or 3 years or so when the X-Men came back in the late 70s. And another one was from the mid 80s when it was still Chris Claremont writing, but you had John Romita Jr. as the artist. And also one of my birthday presents was the first volume omnibus of the No Man's Land storyline that every Batman comic was a part of in 1999. I'm not joking. The entire year of 1999 was one big course all over the place of one single storyline where an earthquake hits Gotham City and the government declares it a no man's land. And it's now all about what are Batman and his friends doing with all of the different heroes or villains at one point or another. And well, I've got an update. You know how CNBC said that Dune would make 80 million in its opening weekend? Well, now I just got a TMZ headline that says it's more likely to make 76 million. But yeah, trust me, with how Warner Brothers has been doing financially and also with just Hollywood in general, Dune Part 2 still is a film that is going to show the rest of us out there what it is that you should be bringing back into the movies. Yeah, a shade underreported from the expectation of 80 million, but compared to the 41 million opening that the first that Dune Part 1 got, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Part 1 of Dune was like 400 something million worldwide, and the first movie was, I believe, like $190 million budget. And I think MMA is referring to the No Man's Land storyline. That's dope. I'll check it out. Yeah, but remember, it's 2 volume omnibuses to do it, and those are the size of like those omnibuses can be the size of the King James Bible. Hell, for my birthday stream, when I unboxed, I'm to come my presents included an omnibus, the first volume omnibus of No Man's Land, and the other was an omnibus of Grant Morrison's JLA. Both of them were bigger than the King James Bible. But that's why, for me, I've got a story in a comic that's much more concise in what it's doing. And here, you can all take a look for the first time ever. This being another page of my comic in progress, Tanya, Lady of the Blade. We are still, yes, the 60-page comic of mine, my second comic I've done. Last year, I finished writing and drawing my first ever completed one, Pain Machines. Although, if you see this and you like what you're seeing here with how I'm drawing Tanya, or if you're interested in hearing about my other comic that's actually completed, Pain Machines, both of those are stories, along with a third one I have in development called Intrepids. I would want to go completely make, write, draw, color, all of that, and then have them be done as Indiegogo campaigns. But the idea behind it is that you need to go and have a successful platform. So I need the world out there. I need you out there to go and spread the word so that then with my channel subscriber goal for this year being 10,000 subs, once I get to 10,000 subs, then we can actually start making the noise and the traction about getting a Indiegogo campaign launched for Pain Machines to be the first one completed. So it would be the first one that I would do. And then from there, you go towards Tanya, which I would want to be the first in a series of comics relating to the title character. And then there's my science fiction story, Intrepids. But there's that page. Then there's this one here as well. And Nagurdnal, well, yeah, that's fitting. My dinner tonight was a pot pie for me as well. Actually, it was 2. There were these 2 like small, almost like microwavable pot pies, but I don't know the microwave, so I just went and put them in the oven. Luckily for Marie Callender, they're very good company because they have instructions where you can either cook them in an oven or in a microwave. And since I haven't owned a microwave since living in Orlando, yeah, everything is the oven for me. Then we've got just some more pages here. Handling them with care. Oh, yes. My own take on sword and sorcery. What I said earlier about being in the tradition of Robert E. Howard or Michael Moorcock. And since I'm doing all this myself, the goal is to have all 60 pages drawn before WrestleMania, and then I'll get on to the stage of lettering it, then coloring it, and then that 60-page comic will be complete. But if you want to actually see it reach the light of day, you would need to help get this channel to its 10K subscriber goal so that we can then move on and on and on to getting it actually funded and produced. And Christopher says that no pot should be in a pie. Well, I just stay away from marijuana, so I agree wholeheartedly. And we've got other pages. Just going through the ones I've been doing, getting it steady, getting just working through in increments. Incrementally, you put in the work to get a page done, and then another, and then another. You'll get to where your goals are supposed to be. And hello to Abe coming into the chat. Nice to see you there. Coming in and getting us a good time. As we've got some new friends here into the chat. We've got Nodgurdnal and MMA Crease King. So let's see some more friends have ourselves a time right there. If you want to see a little more. You want to see a little more? You want to see a little fun? That's what we got right there. If you want to see where the future will be. Just a bit of a fun time. The more we sharpen things up. Oh, yeah. Of course, how do I distinguish my work from others? Well, mine has a lot more titties. Maybe in the future, I'd be able to entice Simon Bisley to do like a fold-out poster or a variant cover for Tanya right here on account of look at his work, and the man pretty much is physically incapable of not drawing women in a comic without giving them big fat titties. There's a reason he was the artist on the a story serialized in Heavy Metal magazine where Julie Strain was the cover model, the penthouse pet turned B movie queen, Julie Strain, and of course star of Heavy Metal 2000. I'm not drawing the comic chronologically from page 1 to then from the beginning to end, although lately I've been doing it in the order where the second half of the comic will be fully drawn, and then the remaining pages I'll have to go back and start from page 1 and move on from there. But what matters is getting the comic actually completed. The comic business is something that's always been built on time is money in the most literal example possible. So there's always a ticking clock over your head where you've got to get that work done. You better do it and do it and do it. You've got to be the anti-Comicsgate. And by that, I mean the anti-e-drama farming egomaniacs who want to go and get your money for this comic that they're supposed to be making. But then they want to spend most of their time just, screwing around on social media, being a social media shit poster, and also mining, milking e-drama, farming e-drama. But enough about Eva Van Sciver. Enough about EVS, who I saw today. Once again, it's like he's done pissing and moaning about Yellow Flash, but now he's going back to pissing and moaning about Eric July, who can actually get the stuff done, get the job done, get the money up there. Including this page I'm particularly proud of, with Michael the Archangel making his appearance with the flaming sword and the shield. Very fun, isn't it? Nice big splash page. That's how you gotta. The splash page has to be in an important moment. When you do that, boom, there's the shot. But it should not just be overly done. It's got to be a moment of importance. And well, having an archangel appear before our title character is definitely a moment of importance. Where boom, there's the shot, as it should be. As well, it should be. Yes. Please help. There are a lot of men chasing us. As well, there should be. You've got the nice big brown mochaccino skin and the big broad shoulders. I want to put a dead animal on you. Oh, yeah, just go there and just spank your bare bottom. He's got some fire to him. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, let's get some silk on you. Let's see another little page. You see the progress being my middle name. And, well, this page has an illustration that's definitely something you would not see in Marvel or DC today. There's the title character with her rosary. Yes. Bible study and rosary in this page. With all that space for all the captions you'll see. If you're wondering about the spaces on this, why there'd be all these blank areas, well, remember, when you're making a comic, you have to leave negative space in whatever pages you do because you need the room. You need the room for what it is that you're going to have all the text with. That's something you got to think about. And since I'm doing all the lettering myself, I'm not the type who's just going to cram every single corner of the page with artwork and then expect all the lettering to just be pasted over certain areas that aren't as exciting. That's not me. I'm a better man. I'm a better man. The Ultimate Warrior. Fuck it. And let me tell you something mean, Gene. We just got an update that right now, Nick is at the Arnold Classic, where it's the second day of the big major bodybuilding competition there. And multi-Mr. Olympia winner Jay Cutler is currently getting the Lifetime Achievement Award, being the man who dethroned the 9-time Mr. Olympia Ronnie Coleman, who then pretty much is the last guy to win Mr. Olympia in consecutive years. Since then, the type of era where Mr. Olympia would be won by a guy year after year after year has pretty much ended. And yes, I'm referring to Jay Cutler, the bodybuilding champion, who actually was at the top of his field, not Jay Cutler, the NFL quarterback, who never lived up to the hype, but we already know that. He's now a god among men. As well he should be, between that and also how much damn red meat that he likes to eat. There's a video I saw online of Jay Cutler going through his red meat diet at the height of his bodybuilding career, and pretty much all of the red meat he would have stored up in his home, he would eat pretty much an entire cow's worth of red meat. All the different ways that you could take a cow and harvest, the chops here, the steaks there, the ground beef there, the sirloin there, all of them together and all of them crammed into the one big refrigerator. And these we've got Abe saying hello to people. That's nice. And then we've got this with our character at her recovering from her lowest point as her face heals, and eventually we get towards a situation where she develops a little something and also gets the rosary. First time we see her, where she gets to see the rosary after laying there in bed like that with all those scars, all that damage. You want to know how I got these scars? Well, there is a pretty graphic page that's coming up, but this is not one of them. Let's see the carnage that people really remember. And here's the first page of Tanya I actually completed. Hello to Sir Ubi-san coming into the chat right there. That's nice to see. And there we get our title character at her lowest point, floating down river, completely nude, naked, cut up, and well, she would be bleeding, but the blood is going out of her wounds, which is a detail I'll add into the coloring. When you see this piece of Tanya right there, naked, floating down the river, you'll see little trails of her blood still coming out of those open wounds as she's floating through. Very nice. Well, it'll be nice to do, but it'll be a nice thing to go and render something grisly that accurately. Then we get into the real nitty-gritty here right now. Some sick shit up in here, alligator. This is her being tied to the stake here fully nude, left to die of exposure, after she already got stabbed in the stomach. And there's the villain putting her body down there to go downriver. Send her out to drift, like we saw on the previous page. Definitely something to remember by. Ooh. But this is what really shows the hero's journey of Tanya being a type who gets exposed and tortured like this. And then from there, she recovers and going from, at that moment, being at the mercy of a lunatic like the villain of the story to then coming back and beating her with her bare hands. She doesn't deserve divine steel. She does deserve what Gloria, the villain, deserves is I would say bare fists, but Tanya is wearing her signature gloves now. Yes, this is the page. Screaming, dropping her shield and her sword, and punching away. Well, 6 Foot Saka, who's been a member for 7 months, says, holler, holler, 3K subs and growing. Holler right back, my man. Oh, yep. We are ready. We are up to go. We have got now, it's 3 down, 3,000 down, 7,000 to go. And Surbisan asks, have you ever played Golden Axe by Sega? I've never even heard of that, let alone played it. But it sounds, the title sounds like something that would be interesting because it sounds like it would have been around that era of Breath of Fire and Chrono Trigger and the pre-PlayStation Final Fantasy games. But now we've got the 6 footer in here, so now it's a party. Now we truly got a party. And Saka, Helen's saying sorry. I'm like, well, it's all right. No, you're making up for it now. But yeah, Saka, you would have liked it. I showed off what all the other Avatar Last Airbender artwork we still have, like our Appa and our Fire Lord and our Katera still coming in. But everybody say hello to everyone else as we're moving in there. And now, oh, Snakes, hail and holla. Good shit on 3K, Luke. Well, thank you, Snakes. Thank you to everyone out there, since we are now, I'm guessing it's the siren song of seeing the title character of my comic beating the shit out of a woman that brought you all in here. Helen says she had to hose a kilo of bird shit off of her Verzinda. Okay. That's all right. And also, Sir Hibusan, well, remember, with Mako, he died a while back, but yes, still, remember the man. Remember the chronicler of Conan. His chronicler who alone can tell you of his saga. Just the way that I alone can tell you of Tanya's saga. I am her one and only chronicler. So, and also, I do remember that on the Avatar cartoon that Mako did a voice on that. And luckily for him, the cartoon had its run before he died of esophageal cancer because remember he did the voice of Splinter in the TMNT cartoon movie, but he died like right after he finished recording his lines, so the movie was tributed to him. I remember that. If anybody wants to know what I'm doing, I'll be watching my stories. And here's another little page of Tanya being tortured. Notice Tanya is the one with the dripping, the blood between the eyes and the gorging down her lip. And also being tied naked. That's being tied buck-ass naked to that stake right there. With the legs spread. Legs spread wider than Margot Robbie on a movie set. Maybe now you know why when I say, well, maybe Sydney Sweeney would be a good choice to play Tanya. And considering her choice of roles, yeah, looking at Euphoria, trust me, this would be far more dignified for her to do, be tied naked to a stake like this, and to see her, anything like that show. Damn, those bin chickens. Irritable bowel syndrome suck, and my cats just watch them. Well, that's the thing with cats. Unless some mouse is around, when it comes to mice, a lot of the time the cats will be the epitome of very stoic and very idle, or then suddenly they'll go from stoic and nothing to then running around in terror, hunting. They have the bloodlust suddenly. You'll see a cat that'll sit on a tree, that'll sit on its little perch for 7 straight hours without movement. And then suddenly, they randomly have the instinct. Like the type of cat that my sister had named Rocky, who would come home with dead birds and dead mice, and like it had come home for hunting. When you see, when someone goes deer hunting or whatever, and they bring the deer home and they harvest the body for the meat, you see a lot of that for hunting right here in Michigan or in Wisconsin. And they'll take the body and they'll be like meat for a month, and they'll keep the head, and they'll do the thing where they have the head on the wall. Yeah, like that. Except that's the cat. That's what a cat will do, or at least the cat like Rocky was with those mice or those birds. Hence why we never had a mouse problem. That would be something of maybe getting a cat would be worth it. Getting a cat so that then we can have it where then we never have to worry about mice again. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Here's the one more page down there. And now we're fully caught up on all the pages that have been done of Tanya. But, well, Helen, yeah, that's the thing with dealing with those animals like that, having to wash it all off and whatever, however you pronounce that word. I wish I knew how to, but I can't. And, well, Helen had a good crack up at my failed pronunciations. But we've got plenty of fun to be had in the future. Hell, maybe in the future there'll even be a Rottweiler here and a cat there, and just watch them battle each other. A little kitty cat. Well, you have the kitty cats to take care of mice, and then you have the dog to take care of thieves. Any roving band of thieves will come. Well, they'll be the thieves will be scared of the Rottweiler, and the mice will be scared of the cat. You'll scare them away by just simply having a little saucer of milk out. Just always keep a little saucer of milk out to give them indication that a cat is nearby, and they'll be running. Snake says that he had a German Shepherd. She was laying near my feet. I saw a mouse and made her aware of it. Her ass hopped up in my lap so damn quick. I missed that dog. Well, with a German Shepherd, they can be light in the feet and really leap high. And then you have the Rottweiler, which I still wonder about the Hollywood in the 90s of portraying Rottweilers as the hounds of hell, as demonic and evil, to the point of, did a Rottweiler turn down Harvey Weinstein? And that's why for the rest of the decade, Rottweilers were portrayed as basically demonic. I'm trying to make sense of it, so I'm guessing that's my guess. If they could go ahead and do that. Your ass hopping up in your lap right there. Oh, yeah. I got a pip on my back. You can put a gift wrap on it, baby. Who's ready to get her done? Get her done. Get her done. Yeah. Come on, get that right there. Come on, dog. That's right. Get up there, dog. Get that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. Getting that. You're getting fresh for that chicken. Harvey with I think I remember somebody from that Umbrella Guys chat said that Harvey has gangrene on his penis now, which I don't know if it's true, but it would be funny, and also it'd be good, it'd be a good little bit of his own body rebelling against his perversion if it turns out he does have gangrene on his dick now. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have been forcing actresses from American Pie to stick their, put their dick up put your dick up their nose or something like that for the power. Yeah. Oh, yeah. While Hollywood wants to convince you that Rottweilers are the worst thing ever and that they're evil and demonic, well, my father owned 3 of them over the years, and they were calm and protective. The difference between is that they aren't just angry to be angry. They're a little less like some drunken, angry biker in a biker bar, and they're more like, say, the bouncer, or not even the bouncer, the cooler. They're the ones that are there looking over everything, and should there be danger, should there be someone getting harmed, then they come in and smash someone's face through a table to the tune of a song from the Jeff Healey band. That's the difference between some big, loud, angry type of dog. Usually, like the little Paris Hilton purse dogs, a little Chihuahua. That's a small little bastard, but it looks and sounds absolutely insane. Then, if you put one of a Chihuahua in front of a mirror, it would angrily be yapping at itself in its own reflection all night long. A Rottweiler, if you put it in, like, say, a dangerous neighborhood where there's somebody trying to sneak through the back and rob a house, they come in and then they'll rip their balls off and actually like come back inside and drop the severed testicles on the ground for their master as like a gift. It's like, your birthday's not for another 6 months, but here.
You know what mine did to me when someone was out front stealing my son's car?
But
just taking his head and just drilling into me.
Well, Surubasan says that Rottweilers are ugly. I may want a German Shepherd, but well, Saka says, yeah, cats for me at this point. Well, as I said, cats, they're good. Their nature is pest control. If you have any problem or any concern about mice or insects, whatever, the cats, when they are actually up and alert, will take care of them. And well, any good buddy is great to have, says Saka. Oh yes, and then make a bad day great as soon as they bark or meow at you. Yes. That's the thing about George Carlin's joke about when it comes to raising dogs and they have no sense of time. So you could go and step outside for like a minute to go to like the store, but say, all right, it's been a minute, you forget your keys, so you go back inside, and there's the dog jumping right at you, thinking that you were never going to come home. Oh my God, you're back! You're back! You're back! I thought you were never going to come home. I thought you were never going to come home. I thought you were never going to come home. Or like when you feed the dog and it comes back going, where the fuck's all the food? And it doesn't understand. It thought that it would just happen forever and ever. You left it there. You left the dog there. You went out to go, get new ice cream, and it thinks it thinks that you have abandoned it. And Slayer96, hail the 199 and congrats on reaching 3K. Well, thank you out there to you there, Slayer, because yeah, remember, this is just the beginning. We've now got another 9 months to reach set to get another 7,000. So however you spread the word to get the channel up to that goal before the year is out, we will get this going, because I checked and it was June was when I reached 2K. So we got to pump those numbers up. Although the last most, like say 2 out of the last 5 months have been a lot better than I've ever been before. And also don't forget that last year, my last year's channel, what it did, it was building things up and getting a little bit faster. But last month is the most watched month on my channel's history. So let's keep that momentum going where we can get even bigger and better for March. And already I saw that when it comes to views, I'm off to a great start with yesterday. It was about 6,100, which is massive for my channel. And let's see if we can do even more tomorrow. Okay, so Saka says, praise Allah, and the 199, oh yes, Allah! Or another example when it comes to cats with Saka, he says, per example, my cat just stole my kitchen chair when I got up. Yes, that's another thing about cats. They're very territorial. Yeah, well, that's why they like to shit and piss everywhere, because that's their way of saying this is mine. You get up for 5 seconds away from your chair, then the cat will jump in, sit there. and it'll scowl at you like you were stealing from its property. Don't you know this is my chair, little bastard? Getting up and, but of course, that's one of the moments where you go and you take a flashlight or a laser pointer, and that's when you have fun with the cat. Say if the cat's in one of those territorial moods where it steals your chair, that's when you get the flashlight. That's a fuck. Oh, what is it? You want to see like almost like a rodeo, like some barnyard fun? You could get some banjo hee-haw music playing over a cat trying to chase down a flashlight beam. And you literally, with the 3 cats my mother had, I could have fun for hours just taking a flashlight and just waving it around and watching them dive after it. People cats seem to be so smart, but then there's also moments where cats can be very, very smart and very territorial, but then also great moments where, it's the moments like that are priceless. Just the lights going after it, just diving around. And also, Sokka says that Chris is now confirmed as a furry, although Christopher denies that, saying no, he's not a furry, he's a PB. If he has sex, he's going to do it not in a ridiculous animal costume. It's not like that. It's not like that moment on the early days of Morning Joe, where there was a gas leak at a convention center in Chicago, where they were having a furry convention, and all the people were standing outside the convention hall, and there was the lady who hosts the show, Mika Brzezinski, laughing her head off, and she actually gets up and leaves the studio, laughing hysterically at the sight of this furry convention. Yeah. And even Joe, there's like, Mika, come back. Mika, what are you doing? Mika. What would be the right music for? I don't know if you ever saw this, but I believe it was Bob Barker, the famous host of The Price is Right. There was some picture that went out online where he was at a hotel where also a furry convention was going on, and he wound up getting his picture taken with some random furry. Hello to Vanessa V for the. We've seen her back right here now, and Abe says that cats can be trained. They'll jump up on your spots when you get up because they're warm and they like the smell of you. So you're saying that cats are like a clingy girlfriend where they're like, oh God, yeah. Like if you go away on business for like a weekend or something, they'll like wear your clothes that you put in the hamper but not wash them because, oh yeah, I want to smell you. And Sock also says, my cat has a dirty bird toy that she drum kicks and flings everywhere. So your cat has some rage issues that it takes out on the bird toy where it throws it around. You're like, oh, fucker. Oh, bastard, get over here. Fuck you. Hey, there's a cat over there. Hey, other cat, fuck you. At least with a cat, you don't have to worry about whether or not the mailman's going to be injured, as opposed to with a dog. Here, motherfucker, get out of here. But please come back here tomorrow at the same time. I get really sad on the nights where you don't show up.
Why don't you tell that to Tyson and his cat? Our tiger.
Get out of here, motherfucker. Get out of here. And Vanessa says that she's on time for once. Well, oh, wait, it's not Bob Barker. It was Bob Euchre. I'm sorry. Here's the picture. Here it is. It's Bob Euchre stumbled across a furry convention in 2007. There it is. Yeah, Bob Euchre of Alf fame. There he is at some hotel. His picture taken with a furry. Well, remember, he was on the show Alf, so yeah, maybe that's just him. That's what he's used to. A little furry convention right there. And I, of course, wonder how many of you have noticed that now, once again, I'm ripping off the thumbnail style for Az's Madame Web video with Sydney Sweeney's huge breasts spelling out the O's in the word boom. Although here, it's that one hooker from Deadwood with her breasts helping to spell out 3000. If the bra fits. Yes, that's the Mika Brzezinski looking at the Mika Brzezinski and her reaction to a furry convention. That
these are just still pictures, they're not videos.
Mika, come back. Mika, watch Mika Brzezinski learn what furries are. This was actually a Hollywood Reporter article. There's Mika with her head down in shame. What is going on here?
She she went to horseshoe school in the
What is
she
what is
doesn't know
that? Why would you do that? Hello, welcome to Morning Joe. I'm Mika. Why would you wear a big furry costume? If you want to have sex, shouldn't you know that the best way to do it is to hike down your panties and just do it in a hotel lobby? Do it with Joe that way. This is my happy face. Because I'm Mika. I have less expression than Scarlett Johansson on Valium. But I still think that furries are ridiculous. They're gross and silly and nobody likes them. I'll say this about furries. When it comes to my business, I just leave furries be because I learned the hard way. Furries don't bring money to conventions. When I go to conventions, I'm there to sell my work and do content for the channel. But furries, they just like to walk around in those big ass costumes. They
want attention.
They just walk around for attention. They have no interest in really buying anything. So yeah, leave them be. There's better things you can do than trying to get a furry's attention. There's the sports museum that's around here in the town of Hamtramck. Yeah, there's a nice little sports museum around here. It's a driving distance away to this town in Hamtramck. I remember visiting there. It's actually attached to this nearby high school. I believe it's where my grandfather went.
What do you think it has? Trophies
and hell, some of the team sports that my grandfather played in that won when he was in high school are there in the big trophy cases they have at this museum. Or as my father calls furries, he says they're snake people. But he doesn't mean anything like snake, like a snake or a liar. Not that they're deceptive, but that they're the type of person that you'll see in a public square with a snake around their neck that you can, like, for $10 get your picture taken with it, or they'll go and they'll wrap it around your neck for 10 or 15 bucks. When you go to like California, you go on the little boardwalk there in Venice Beach, or you probably also see guys like in Times Square doing that, where they'll have a pet snake and whatever. And apparently, right now, Sokka is cutting apples. He's preparing some overnight oats. Is anyone else cooking? Asked Sokka. Well, I do believe Nagardnal was getting a pot pie ready. I had 2 pot pies because they were so small today, and also I didn't wait for them to cool down, so now the inside of my mouth is completely incinerated. Like if you saw the Ted miniseries on Peacock, there's the one Halloween episode where there's a gag about they order some those little apple pies from, I think, McDonald's. They open it and it burns the insides of their mouth. A gag at the end of the episode is, oh yeah, I got another one of those pies from McDonald's. I got it 2 weeks ago, so it should be cooled down by now. And the lady unwraps it and fire bursts out of it. A little of that. And apparently, Helen's meal right now, I don't know if she prepared herself, but she's having chocolate mousse. That's Helen right there. Flash pepper in my chocolate mousse. A flash pepper. Say when, Carlo. Carlo, remember, with the pepper, not in the chocolate mousse. No pepper. That's right there, that pepper boy. I'll get that little muscly on pepper boy in there. I bet you got that muscly paper boy. I bet you love a little bit of that paper boy over there. You're starting to piss me off right there. I'm gonna slap you right in the penis. Why don't you pick on somebody your own size there? Well, Helen was having the chocolate mousse. Sokka's was dim sum. Okay, dim sum. So, has anybody there ever enjoyed the cream of some guy? I don't. I haven't, but I bet Christopher has. Sniffing a hat. Oh yes, tipping the hat or sniffing the hat. But we've got plenty of other things to show. When it comes to getting Tanya actually made, we've got a bit more reference material right here to show. When it comes to fantasy painting and the like. Here we go. Yes, that's right. To our friend Sokka, the cream of some guy. That's a. I don't know if anybody here in the audience has ever had any. Maybe you have, or maybe you haven't. I don't know, but what I do have right here is this out of print one from a while back. Here's one. The cover price was $7.95 for this one from back in the day. The fantastic art of Boris Vallejo, prolific fantasy painter. You would have seen his work. He painted the poster for Vacation. Yes, a guy who paints stuff like this painted the poster for a Chevy Chase movie.
Draw all that shit for Muscle Builder.
And, let's see. Oh yes, and Party Time is excellent. I don't know. I don't know if this counts as furries, but here is Vallejo doing a centaur, a very jacked centaur. There was once a Showtime docuseries called Gigolos. It was about this group of gigolos in Las Vegas. And one of them is there to satisfy this woman's desire to sleep with I am not kidding here, sleep with a centaur. So you see one of the gigolos having sex with this one lady in a centaur costume. And that's not even the most messed up one. The most messed up one I remember on the show was there was a woman there who wanted to reenact the coming back to life from the prince's kiss in Snow White. So there was a woman laying there in an open casket, and the guy had to go and fuck her awake. Yes, a gigolo had to fuck a woman back to life who wanted it in a casket right there. And the thing is, with these women, they all agreed to be featured on camera. No face, no pixelation, no voice distortion. To show them, oh yeah, there's one who, oh yeah, I want 5 guys, one at a time, one around 5 dudes, and there's like one after another, and there's one of the guys, I think it was like the second one to go in. He's going in and he proceeds to then wash his penis and testicles with dish soap in the kitchen while the other dudes are waiting to go take their time and attention. Well, here's one. Here's the first Vallejo piece in the book, Golden Wings. Definitely, well, if I had the painting skill like that, there we go. Snakes, no, that was not a Soska sister production. It was a docu-series on Showtime. Oh, there's this one. Well, if I took the basic pose and composition, and this would be something that'd be good inspiration for doing like a painting of Tanya. Have her in that same kneeling position, looking up with the rosary and her sword. Wouldn't that look great? Maybe another like big piece for Tanya that would be something to do with a promotional poster or something like that, or maybe a cover. Maybe draw the cover for Tanya inspired by this. If you think this would make a good inspiration for the cover, drawing the cover to Tanya, think that.
You're trying to look drab.
And then we've got a little something where a good old Vallejo doing a creature, a buff dude, and a hot lady who's also in great shape. But another thing about Boris Vallejo, besides his prolific work in fantasy and also doing movie posters like painting the poster to Vacation and also the first sequel, European Vacation, he also married another great prolific artist who also was a female bodybuilder, his wife, Julie Bell. She was a competitive bodybuilder and also is a fantasy painter where both her and her husband, Boris, still work to this day. And they're both now have Instagram profiles. You can see the work they do, or they're either printing new work or old work up there, and have a very, very fun time. Like that one right there. Well, hey, if the man thong and the G string on the woman fits, why not? And speaking of that, the other one I have here, Soft as Steel, The Art of Julie Bell, because that ass, or her ladies don't exactly look, they don't look bony. They're definitely in great shape. That's the thing about her, or remember when you're a female bodybuilder, you're not going to draw women that looks like, this stuff I did, the stuff I do. A little bit of a black cat right there. The daily sketchbook I've got to chronicle just how much of the year has passed and what have you. Also got our little lady. That cave woman Asto. Oh, yeah. Well, there's lots of gorgeous cave women in here. There's also some women that aren't cave women, but are still very sexy. Like this lady here. Very strong. That's why she paints her women that way. Or even one of Julie Strain, the late great Julie Strain, the inspiration for the FAK2 FAKK2 story, comic book story that then became the inspiration for Heavy Metal 2000. And yes, there's Julie Strain as painted by Our Lady Julie Bell. Very nice right there. And we've even got Julie Bell painting Zorro. Yes, Don Diego de la Vega. The dawning has come so cunning and free. Zorro, Zorro, Zorro. He marks the sign of the Z. Zorro, 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 Zorro. Wow. She also paints, buff dudes. Look at this. Very jacked, very oiled up. But probably that's why she likes to work in oil painting, because it's like when she's painting, it's like she's oiling up a dude. And there's also this lady right there. Very nice. Or here's a lady. Torpedoes on Planet Pink. The torpedoes are her nipple caps. Almost looks like Peg Bundy doing it, like a Peg Bundy as a fantasy hero woman with her little rockets on her bra. If you remember the rocket bra that Tank Girl would wear. Well, something like that. Trying to think of something else. Other pieces in here to show. Oh, here's another lady bodybuilder looking one. Looks like that one buff assassin woman from Hard Ticket to Hawaii. If you ever saw that movie. The Andy Sedaris classic. Apparently, nature will provide its own lubricant, according to O Snakes. Or these ladies right here. Very nice. Ain't they beautiful? Very beautiful. But I also have to ask, are y'all ready for this? If y'all ready for this, then come and see that one right there. Ooh. Ooh. And Servison says, oh, by the way, congrats. Well, thank you. It's remember, it was a 9-month course to get from 2,000 to 3,000. Now we really have the motivation to speed that process up to get to the point where then we'll reach my 10K goal. Or, well, remember when the X-Men were cool and they were interesting? Well, take a look at this one right here that Julie Bell did of the 90s X-Men females with Storm and Jean Grey and Rogue and Psylocke right there, all of them. Looking strong and beautiful, kicking ass, actually being entertaining instead of lady golfers. Very nice. The nice one, and well, I've got it right here. I do believe it was part of a trading card set. Yeah, the X-Women 1996. Or according to, actually, no, wait, scratch that. This was unpublished. This was enormously popular as a magazine cover because it all right. Yeah, it was unpublished as a poster, but this was used as a magazine cover right here. The these women here. Yes. Back when Psylocke was a hottie, and of course, Rogue, the ultimate Southern belle. I mean, my queen, my Georgia peach, the woman to whom her little Southern fried booty is something I must claim as mine. But remember, with her strength and her flying and all that, and just in general, her being a Southern woman, and Southern women are natural born sex fiends, it takes a Cajun man to satisfy her. Then Rasaka says, the X-Women of 96 looking da bomb. Oh, yeah. Then it was stupid of Marvel to not publish this as a poster. Then we've got Magneto over here. Much smaller reprint, but still very kick-ass right there. Master of the Magnet. Ha 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 ha. What do you mean? I am Magneto. Oh, here's one. Even the 90s indie bad girl comics got some love. Here's Julie Bell's painting of She. Service-on, no, this isn't Alex Ross. This is the artwork of Julie Bell, a female bodybuilder and fantasy painter. She's also the wife of famed, still living fantasy painter Boris Vallejo. Yes, and also with the how successful was she as an indie comic in the mid-90s? Well, Mr. Billy Tucci was able to afford to get Miss Bell right here to hire her for a cover like this. That's something I want for myself with doing Tanya. I'd love for it to be successful enough that I could then be able to get Simon Bisley to go and do a cover or do like a piece, poster, cover, whatever for Tanya, like how Julie right here did one for our friend Billy Tucci. Billy Tucci, the first comic pro that ever spoke to me at conventions. So, yeah, when I was first going to conventions down in Orlando, there he'd be there at all the ones I'd go to, promoting whatever work he had done or was now doing. And speaking of bad girls, there's also this one. If you remember Rob Liefeld's attempt to get in on the bad girl craze with Glory and another comic called Evangeline, well, here is a Julie Bell painting for Evangeline. Oh, yes. Or as O Snake says, blessed be the Tooch. Oh, yeah. A guy who started out and really made his name as an indie guy, as opposed to the CG crowd where they were all guys who then wound up getting exiled from DC or Marvel and thus came to the online realm of crowdfunding. But Tucci always was a guy who started out what he did, he could get, and directly inspired by the success of Lady Death, he went out and tracked down Brian Pulido at a convention and showed him what he had in mind and was able to use that inspiration to get She off the ground and make it work.
Yeah.
Sir says that she should be proud to know this painting skill. If Tanya gets completed with this cover art, yours truly will be your first buyer. Well, if I'd be able to, well, at this point, I'd still be, all of it would be by me. The cover art will be mine, and it'll all be that stuff. Although, the ability to go and, well, remember, the goal right first is to get this comic done, and then to get my third comic, Intrepids, done. And then from there, when you go and get the channel up to 10,000 subscribers, then that means I've still got a lot of work to do to then start getting into my first campaign, which would be my horror comic Pain Machines. Although going through my files, I also have plenty of other shorter, like 4, 3, 5-page comic stories that maybe as like a real low rent kind of like small potatoes thing, just to try and understand the, try to get my grip on the business ramifications of doing a comic. Just do like an even smaller crowdfunder of just doing like a 24 or like 38-page little floppy of all my unrelated little 4 or 5-page comic stories collected in one little anthology like that, before I would even go and do the campaign for Pain Machines. And then from there, get that, and then go on down the line. And well, I should have brought it up and around, but I actually do have that nice, great, big hardcover copy of Mythology. That was DC's big coffee table book of Alex Ross's artwork. I remember getting that in like the 2000s, and I saw it in a trade form, and then I lost it somewhere along the way. But now I've got a hardcover copy of it, and although that's in my basement with a bunch of the long boxes I either rearranged. I used to have all my long boxes in my bedroom. Now I moved a bunch of them down to the shelves in my basement. And that's where the Alex Ross hardcover is down there. Although there's this one vendor I see at all the conventions I go to here. They have a combination of comics and books and things like that and magazines. And they also have some like magazine boxes that are always on the ground by their table. And one thing they still have there is this like Wizard special giveaway of Alex Ross's artwork. That'd be something special to get your hands on. That, and also his most recent work being the Fantastic Four comic he wrote and painted for Marvel, is an absolute beauty, and I would recommend it. I was there as soon as I saw it on Amazon. I went and put it to my wish list. It came, and I love it as much as that Marvel mural that Ross did, which I have the book of, where it collects all the different individual pieces as separate posters, from the Hulk to Nightcrawler and Storm, Wolverine, and all that. Let's see what. Here's definitely, you see those pirate ladies, those cavalier beauties. They're very fun and very nice.
The pirates were all men.
That's what you get right there. Historically, yes, pirates were men. And I know that's something that modern Disney doesn't want to hear, but history doesn't give a shit about your feelings.
We spent 6 months alone in shoot.
And also, here's a piece from Marvel with Ghost Rider right there. And remember, this was the 90s, so this was the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, because there's the original Western Ghost Rider was like a cowboy man, and then the one people really know is the Johnny Blaze one from the 70s that Marvel created because they lost the ability, they weren't able to get the license to do a comic of Evel Knievel. but they'd already done a bunch of development work on it. So they decided to just simply make it, it's a like motorcycle daredevil like Evil Knievel, but then they wound up making him into this demon slayer, hence Ghost Rider. Here we've also, Julie Bell could also do men very well. And O Snakes brings about Storm's boobs and gave her pancake tits in this new cartoon. Yeah, well, they took away Rogue's sweet Georgia peach ass, which is why I drew her recently of Rogue with that sweet southern ass right there firmly. And, well, with the sweet chocolate titties of Storm, trust me, every time one of these, whenever there's something like that goes and takes away the hotness of a superhero woman or a fantasy woman like that, I'll be here to give you what it is that the mainstream won't. And that's basically the Iron Age in a nutshell of independent creators in whatever kind of creative field wanting to go and do the things to entertain you and provide the entertainment for you that the mainstream simply refuses to on ideological grounds. And, well, if anything, that just leads to an open market for all these independents to go and build their own megaphone and build their own platform. Although I have these comics I'm making and wanting to make still, I still am on the stage where the first important thing is having an audience that's really prolific, that's really bankable. Because then the more people you have on you, then you can actually have a real success story with what you're doing and what you want to make independently. Like this lady right here on her horseback. Or that, I'm not sure who this character is, but the fact that she's a ginger automatically means that we're probably not going to be seeing her in DC or Marvel anytime soon. I saw that when those Jedi Survivor commercials were out for Star Wars, I was legit surprised that the hero character was a ginger. Was anybody else there surprised that the hero of a post-Disney Star Wars game was allowed to be ginger? That the guy from Jedi Survivor? I've seen an actor before when I used to watch the show Shameless. He was on that. I know he also was Joker on Gotham, but I didn't really watch that show. Here's that. Then we've got classic Spider-Man versus the Lizard right there. But when it happens in this day and age, it's something worth pointing out and acknowledging because you don't really expect that because of how much things go in like one direction with this woke crap. But apparently not. Apparently they decide it's like they were inspecting whatever ESG inspectors let them slip on allowing a ginger to exist as a hero in a modern Star Wars production. And Sokka asks, but why can't I play as a Sith? Yes, that's something. Why not give you the option where you can go and play that? I believe that was a feature from the Knights of the Old Republic games, was that, Knights of the Old Republic, you could play as a Sith, couldn't you? Or that game that I never played, but I used to see the PC version whenever I'd go to Staples or Office Max, Star Wars, Dark Forces. Yeah, the one with the Stormtrooper on the cover, although you play as Kyle Katarn, you play as the guy who stole the plans for the Death Star. That's, strange, but I mean, all right. And Force Unleashed is another. Sokka brings that one up too. Well, the Star Wars games I played are either like games directly tied in with the movies, like the ones on Super Nintendo, where they had on the SNES, there was a game for each of the original 3 movies, and also Rogue Squadron on Nintendo 64. Because I remember the first Super Bowl I ever watched was Super Bowl 33. And there we were at my father's place watching it. And we had this thing where in between commercials, my father would turn on. That was still when those little portable, like black and white TVs were a thing. You could have them on like the dashboard of your car somewhere. And my brother brought over his Nintendo 64 and we had Rogue Squadron. And on the commercial breaks for Super Bowl 33, he'd play Rogue Squadron up on the big TV, but my father would be watching the commercials up on the little TV he brought with them. Except for one time where it was a commercial where it was Stevie Wonder with E.T., and that was like such a big surprise. He put that on the big TV for us to see that. Whereas, Stevie Wonder and E.T. together at last. And Vanessa V with a $5 super chat says, congratulations on 3K subs. Thank you right there. That was a big one. That was a big moment right there. Let's see. Oh, about Jedi Survivor. That's now. Thanks for Vanessa for breaking the chain on that one. Breaking the chain, the Dokken classic. Yes. And yes, 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 80s metal bands, I do like them, including ones like Dokken. But remember, that's because those guys actually knew things like how to play instruments and sing. Even people that are of the faith in Christianity will bash that Christian metal band Striper and take their frontman, Michael Sweet, and put him on a live microphone next to Beyonce and see who could actually be able to really sing into a live microphone. This Christian metal guy in his like 60s now, or a lady who she's now successfully made herself look white. When I saw Beyonce at the Super Bowl this year, I thought that it was Adele because Adele's lost all that weight. And for a second there, I thought it was Adele. Oh no, it's just Beyonce having successfully made her into a white person. And Suruba-san asks, your favorite GL member? GL, do you mean Green Lantern? Well, if I'm presuming that you're saying Green Lantern, and that I would actually say Kyle Rayner. Yes, yes, I'm one of those types when it comes to the Green Lantern mythos. If GL is referring to Green Lantern, well, Suruba-san does say yes. Well, then yes, it's definitely Kyle Rayner. That's why I still have that on my Amazon wish list. Is that compendium? It's like the first couple. It's that DC compendium of the first couple years of Kyle Rayner as the Green Lantern, within the wake of the whole Emerald Twilight storyline when he took over. That they've been doing those compendiums now at DC. There's that. There's one for like the early years of when Tim Drake was Robin. Although I already have a bunch of trades of the first years of Tim Drake as Robin. And also there's a big compendium for the early years of Nightwing's solo comic in the 90s. That one, I have some trades of that, but it's later trades of later issues, which I got because they had Greg Land as the artist there. Because yes, I'm also another big one who loves the work of Greg Land, especially his work on the comic Sojourn, which is one of the references I use for drawing Tanya. Is that along with French science fiction or fantasy, as well as the work of Michael Moorcock, and especially the great people at Titan Comics, and them having done these great hardcover reprints of all the official comic adaptations of every Michael Moorcock novel, including the entire series of Elric of Melniboné, including this one, The Sailor on the Seas of Fate. The Peter Venkman fan sites coming into the chat. Hello to you, to the holy diver, and we cry for Tanalon. Oh, now. But I've been called Ulik Skarzal, and John Dacre, and Ilan of Granthord, to my certain knowledge, and some would even have believed me that I have been Elric Womanslayer. Yes, this bearded gentleman right here, Mr. Eric Koze, in the gold with the rogue gray streak in his hair. And now, just from the name alone, I bet, Christopher, that your favorite fantasy author is Michael Moorcock now. Christopher, do you have all of Moorcock's books? Everything from his Elric stuff to Corum and Jerry Cornelius, and even other fantasy science fiction stories that aren't related to like a recurring character? It's a beautiful page where all the different incarnations of the Eternal Champion working together. Elric, we've got Elric, Corum, Erakose, and Dorian Hawkmoon. That's Hawkmoon on the left. That is Elric. That is Erakose. And on the right, the prince in the scarlet robe is Corum. Yes. He doesn't look like a young black man who just ran in the NFL Combine today, but hey, the name, it does go across the entire multiverse. And you can either thank or hate Michael Moorcock for popularizing the concept of the multiverse in his fiction, even before DC Comics, really. And when you really look down at it, the whole idea of the multiverse, if you look at Michael Moorcock's fiction in whatever form, either if you get the prose, the actual like novels and stories of his, or if you get these perfectly done official comic adaptations of his work, yeah, you're better off with he's the guy who can do it well. Most other people, when it comes to multiple universes, they can't do it. It becomes a lazy crutch. But not for Moorcock, especially when you've got the right kind of people adapting his work there. And Christopher says, yes, he always wants Moorcock. So I'm guessing you've been down to Texas to meet the man. Yes, he's an English writer, but he's been working out of Texas for decades. Why? I don't know, but it might have something to do with the draconian tax code that the British government has on those who are successful in their country. Hence why any writer, any actor, musician, whatever, once they get big in the business, their first thing is to become American citizens. Just look at the Judas Priest frontman Rob Halford, who is happier and better living off in Phoenix, Arizona than he has been staying in England. And of course, let's not forget about Ozzy. Ozzy. Or truly the real genius behind Black Sabbath, a man to whom I share a birthday with, Tony Iommi, the real songwriting genius behind Black Sabbath. And now once their albums started getting big, they all went and got, mansions and cars, and they'd have there was a house that they all go to in Beverly Hills where they would get cocaine delivered in giant cereal boxes. Or they would just take a giant cereal box of cocaine, pour it into a big bowl, and they would all get straws and just snort it out of that way. Yes. Such was the way with cocaine back in the day. Yep. So its sword is flung back, its blade slicing through tens of thousands of dimensions, drawing their power and energy to the fore. And then it begins to swing back. It swings, and black light bellows from its blade. It swings, and Agak becomes suddenly aware of it. The inhuman sorcerer begins to alter his body. Too late. Agak's many tendrils rise to defend the sorcerer against that sword, but its blade cuts through him as if they were not there, and it strikes the eight-sided chambers, which is Agak's eyes. And the four stands triumphant on an island lost from time. Agak lives too, but frozen, half of him resembling the building the warrior saw them when first they washed ashore. Here's one. 6 Foot Saka with a $9.99 super chat says, following Vanessa's lead, 3 subs, congrats. Oh, yes. Saka has the right idea right there after our lady here, Vanessa, of dropping in them super chats to celebrate the proper way of this channel reaching 3,000 subs. Because we got another 7,000, so that to the point of when we can go and get our friend, a comic project to be begun in the crowdfunding stage. Oh, yes. That's right, because remember, you're also dealing with the Duke. And I don't just mean any Duke, but Duke Nukem. Hence, as 6 Foot Saka says right now, all hail the Duke. That's right. Hail to the king, baby. What? Did you think I was going to be gone forever? Come get some. If you think I'm going to sit there where you pregnant heifers try to waste my time and make me think I'm some less of a man, you ought to go and kiss my ass. Yes. Oh, shit. Headshot. Oh, kill streak. Oh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. Now you know what I do. And I'm the big man on campus. Why? Just look at all my steroids. And that alien scum, they're going to be annihilated completely. And take a look at what our friends right here in this sailor does. Oh, actually, wait. Now that I've got it out there, let's go and show you all a little bit. I promised some Dio. Let's get you some Dio. A little holy diver. A little holy diver. Yes. Holy diver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea. Of what's becoming of me, ride the tiger. You can see his straps, but you know he's clean. Oh, you see what I mean? Gotta get away, holy diver, yeah! Got shiny diamonds like the eyes of a cat in the black and blue. Something is coming for you, look out, race for the morning. You can hide in the sun till you see the light. Oh, we will pray it's all right. Gotta get away, I gotta get away. Between the velvet lies, there's a truth that's hard as steel. Yeah, the vision never dies. Life's a never-ending wheel. Say, holy diver, You're the star of the masquerade. No need to look so afraid. Jump on the tiger. You can feel his heart, but you know he's mean. Some light can never be seen. Yeah, holy diver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea. Oh, what's becoming of me? No, no, ride the tiger. You can see his straps, but you know he's clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get away, yo, I gotta get away, yeah. Holy diver, soul survivor, you're the one who's clean. Holy diver, there's a cat in the blue coming after you. Holy diver, yeah, all right, gotta get away. Holy diver, holy diver, holy diver. Yes, yes, yes. Cheering the name of Ronnie James Dio. Truly the best singer Black Sabbath ever had. And a man who also did a brilliant work with Rainbow before Black Sabbath and then with his own solo band Dio afterwards. With a little rock on. Yes, rock on for the holy diver. A little bit of a celebration. A little bit of excitation. A little bit of exaltation in the name. Oh, Snake says, now do Rainbow in the Dark. Well, first I need the lyrics. Let's see. Rainbow in the Dark. Rainbow in the Dark. I know that one. Okay. When there's lightning, you know it always brings me down. 'Cause it's free and I see that it's me who's lost and never found. I cry out for magic, I feel it dancing in the light. It was cold, I lost my hold to the shadows of the night. No sign of the morning coming, you've been left on your own like a rainbow in the dark. Oh, rainbow in the dark, do your demons, do they ever let you go? When you've tried, do they hide deep inside? Is it someone that you know? You're just a picture, you're an image caught in time. You're a lie, you and I, we're words without a rhyme. There's no sign of the morning coming. You've been left on your own like a rainbow in the dark. Just a rainbow in the dark, yeah. When I see lightning, you know it always brings me down. 'Cause it's free and I see that it's time for me, who's lost and never found. I feel the magic, I feel it floating through the air. But it's fear and you'll hear it's calling you beware. When I see lightning, you know it always brings me down. 'Cause it's free and I see that it's me who's lost and never found. Feel the magic, I feel it floating in the air. But it's fear and you'll hear it's calling you beware. Look out! There's no sign of the morning coming. There's no sign of the day. You've been left on your own like a rainbow in the dark, yeah. You're a rainbow in the dark, just a rainbow in the dark. No sign of the morning, you're a rainbow in the dark. Oh, yes. Heavy fucking metal. Heavy, yes. Because why? It's Dio. In the name of the Dio. Well, in the pages you've seen of me drawing Tanya, I picture Tanya as a Dio album in comic book form, either Dio or Manowar in comic book form, and then you get the general idea of what the story of Tanya would be. And Sokka says that was badass. Well, Dio knows nothing but badass. So if you're not performing a Dio song in badass form, then you're just plain wrong. What you're doing is wrong. What you're doing actually ought to be illegal. If you're doing Rainbow in the Dark or Holy Diver, because it would be unholy to do a Holy Diver in any other way than that. You know who else would anger? The Titan of Ether, the god of all magic, the Lord of the Eight Virtues. And I'm not referring to the avatar from the Ultima games. I'm referring to the inspiration for behind the avatar of the Ultima games. Of course, President Gerald Ford. Starting news today from the White House as President Gerald Ford used the new moon gates installed in the White House lawn to re-enter the world of Britannia and save it from being possessed under the domination of the Guardian. So reportedly, Gerald Ford shoved the Guardian's foot so far up his own ass that his toes popped out of his nostrils. And then Ford proceeded to return to Earth in a timely fashion through the moon gates in order to keep his promise of visiting Homer Simpson's house for dinner that night. And yes, there was a while back this, I think I remember it was a Pyroar asked if my father had ever met Dio with all the people in the music business he worked. And actually, yes, one time my father did bodyguard the man behind Real American, Rick Derringer. And when he was there with Rick Derringer, he also came across and introduced him to Ronnie James Dio. And this was been the mid 80s. So this would have been after he had quit Black Sabbath and started doing his solo albums when he was doing Holy Diver and Rainbow in the Dark. And yes, Rick Derringer, you know him, you love him, you know what that means now when bringing up Rick Derringer. It's something that involves the man of the atomic leg drop, the man who sold out not just Madison Square Garden over and over, but also 93,000 Hulkamaniacs in the Pontiac Silverdome. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American and fight for what's right. A fight for your life. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand. It don't help to hide. If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta lend a hand. It don't. Oh shit, right. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you gotta take a stand. It don't help to hide. If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta lend a hand. It don't help to hide. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right, a fight for your life. Well, I stand strong about right and wrong, and I don't take trouble for very long, 'cause I got something deep inside of me. Courage is the thing that keeps us free. I am a real American. I fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. I fight for what's right. Fight for your life. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. If you hurt my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta lend a hand. It don't help to hide. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. Train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Be true to yourself, true to your country. Be a real American. Whew. Hulk Hogan, you fucked me at WrestleMania. You fucked me in front of everybody. You fucked me, and you didn't call again. Fuck you, Hulk Hogan. I have to respect you. My dick is bigger than your arms, Hulk Hogan. And let's not forget about Booker T, who, when referring to Hulk Hogan, dropped an N-bomb on live TV. So now you know why Booker T, when TMZ asked him about Hulk Hogan and the sex tape, said we should forgive Hulk Hogan because, well, Booker understands about dropping an N-bomb that embarrasses them. Although Hogan did it on a private tape that got leaked illegally. And with Booker, he was stupid enough to do it on live TV when this was 97. So WCW still had all the eyeballs on it in the wrestling world and really was responsible for the big boom period in pro wrestling in the 90s. It was the success of Hulk Hogan making his heel turn and the ratings they got there that then led to the WWF reinventing itself. And that big right there. And although it was WCW running with the NWO so that the WWF could walk with the attitude, WCW walked with the attitude with the NWO so the WWF could run with the Attitude Era. I got those words back up. Because look at, like, say, 1999, as the WCW ratings kept going down, the ratings for the WWF, though, compensated. So you would see the Monday Night Wars where you'd see, like, Raw would get like a 7.2 Nielsen, and Nitro would be getting a 3.5. So you add it up, that would still be like a combined 10.9 Nielsen rating for the two biggest pro wrestling shows in America on cable. Those are phenomenal ratings of any type. But among the multiple interviews, confrontational interviews of Bob Costas with Vince McMahon, there's one I believe he did on Real Sports in 2002 where Costas was talking about how ratings are down. They're still great by any cable standard, but they're down from the phenomenally high numbers of 1999 and 2000. Because look at the Monday Night Wars. Yes, once you get to like fall 98 up until it ended in around spring break 2001, yeah, Raw beat Nitro in the ratings and beat them and beat them and beat them. But when you look at the ratings for Raw, they escalated up to, like, throughout 1999, they'd get ratings, Nielsen's in the 6s and 7s, and even an 8.1 in May for that one uncontested Monday night where Raw was on. And yeah, they got an 8.1 because there was no Nitro that day. But then you go on and go on and go on and see they would maintain like a 6 and a 7 for Raw all the way for the rest of the year. And then into 2000, they maintained a 7, 6 something Nielsen rating up until around July, where then it started going down to like a 5 or a 4. And by the final Nitro Raw, where they had that simulcast, I think Raw got like a 4.7, which what they want today. I mean, there are cable shows that get those ratings. And yeah, I bet they would love it to be for Raw to get one of those. And there's going to be the big seismic change now where the ratings for Raw would be calculated differently on account of WWE's new Netflix deal that's going to come into effect in 2025. So this is the last year of seeing Raw on cable in general. Starting out on the USA Network and then moving to TNN for a while, then coming back to USA. Because with how just huge the WWF became in 99, that's the year that they went public on the NYSE. And then the next year was when the TNN went and got the rights to Raw. And it went up and went up and went up like that. Also, there was the WWF Cafe in Times Square, which actually, I think I mentioned before, when I visited New York, September 2nd and 3rd, 2001, we went into Manhattan and there was the WWF Cafe right there in Times Square. Snakes brings up about Booker T, the one who got Vince to say, who dropped the N-bomb to John Cena. Oh yeah, I remember that clip. And that clip where it was, white rapper era John Cena. He's backstage talking to Vince, and Vince tells him, "Keep it up, ma," and he drops the N-bomb and then goes walking away, and Vince walks right past Booker T and his wife. You know what's also funny about that clip of Vince McMahon dropping the N-bomb on that episode of SmackDown, I presume, is that they did it at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. Just one of the many great memories of the Joe Louis Arena had in the world of pro wrestling. So if you love the pro wrestling world, you love the WWF, then when they took down and they demolished the Joe Louis Arena, you had to feel sorry. You had to feel sad. Between all major eras of the WWF that we know of, had something to do with Joe Louis Arena at one point. Even the era of the famous Ultimate Warrior and his big promo when it was leading up to the feud with Hulk Hogan that had the WrestleMania 6 match. See here, red and yellow, the colors of Hulkamania, here at the Joe Louis Arena. And then throughout the Attitude Era, there was Stone Cold breaking back into the arena on a Zamboni and colliding into Vince McMahon as they were gifting Kane the new WWF Heavyweight Championship belt. And then the next year, there was The Rock on the Belle Isle Bridge, just a bit of a drive away from the Joe Louis Arena. He was there on the bailout bridge with Stone Cold smoking Skull Belt. And at the end of the episode, we see Stone Cold drives off to the bridge. They fight, and The Rock throws Stone Cold and his belt down into the river. And yes, love the name buddy there. And well, Sokka is happy to celebrate this milestone. It's time to work out tonight. Hail to the chat and hail the Duke himself. Well, that's right there, young man. You are correct to go and congratulate Matt that way. Nothing but love. Oh, yes. Especially that, and with Sokka and your continued contributions are all greatly appreciated, and definitely pump the iron, yes. Considering that this is the weekend of the Arnold Classic, Sokka, you need to go and feel the pump, if only to honor Jay Cutler being now gifted a Lifetime Achievement Award. And also, if you want to compare to Arnold, because on all of the free streaming sites, you can now watch the Pumping Iron, Tubi, Freevee, Pluto. You can watch them all there, where you can feel Arnold talking about coming, about sex with a woman and coming. Also, if you're excited about the new Dune movie, which with all the hype around it, I would like to see the new Dune movie, but I've actually been familiar with the franchise for a while because I remember as like a little boy, my mother rented the miniseries from our local library when it came out on VHS and made us watch it. And then from there was, I remember the 80s movie I saw in high school and actually read the original Frank Herbert novel, Dune, in high school. And trust me, that's another one of those novels that has the only other thing since then I've ever tried to read with that kind of length or scope to it would have to be the Bible. Okay. My King James Bible is like the one thing I have there with a bigger scope to it than Dune. That's a pretty lofty standard right there. And now with the movie that came out a few years back, the Part 1 and now Part 2 in theaters. But one thing I remembered that threw me off about Part 1 when it was advertised is that it's supposed to be this new adaptation of Denis Villeneuve directing, and yet the theme in the trailer was the Prophet theme that Brian Eno composed for the 80s movie. It's like when there was the Power Rangers movie from a few years back, and the movie version of Go Go Power Rangers is just the version of the movie version of the theme from the 95 movie. That was just them being lazy, just recycling that. Yeah. Well, yeah. Rewatch that Power Rangers movie and you'll see that. Pumping it up like that. And Snake says, Dune was rough for me in those first few hundred pages. Well, another thing about Dune is that because Frank Herbert really went into detail with crafting this far future world, there's all the new lingo. There's all the different kinds of names for people, places, and things that are hard to say, and also you don't really understand what they are in the first place. So you wind up going and referring to the appendices in the back to understand what phrases like Shai Hulud or Gam Jabbar mean. That's one detail in the novel I actually did like was yes, the talk about is about Paul being ready for the Gam Jabbar, and he overhears his mother talking to the Bene Gesserit Rich about that, and he just thinks to himself, what's a Gam Jabbar? Well, I always took that as like a little meta moment in the story of, yeah, all the weird cryptic language that goes on in the movie. Well, yeah, what the hell's a Gam Jabbar? Or what's this? Or what's that? What's the Fremen? Or the Bene Gesserit? All these things. You have to explain this shit to me. This is a whole other world. So I gotta have this stuff like figured out. And also, well, luckily for me, the first ever experience I had with Dune being the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries, well, now it's available for free to watch on Freevee right there. It's, I think, like Amazon's like free streaming service. And yeah, if you go, and at least from what I saw when I looked it up, when I Googled it, because when you Google a movie or a show, they can preview all the different streaming services where you can find it. I mean, I hope so. I hope that that's not lying to me, like when I tried to look up Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it said, oh yeah, it's on Pluto. And then I looked it up, and no, Avatar: The Last Airbender was not on Pluto, so they were lying to me. And that also was a scene that scared the hell out of me, with the Gam Jabbar scene with the needle to the neck and burning the hand in the box. That was horrifying. Especially when you look at the effects in the miniseries and how much more convincing it is compared to what it looks like later on, the miniseries compared to the David Lynch movie. And another detail, the actor who plays Paul Atreides in the first half of the story where it's with the royal family and they're moving to Arrakis and all that, you see his hair, the way they have him wear his hair, it makes him look like he's balding. It makes him look like he's balding and trying to comb it forward to hide it. But then later on in the rest of the series, and now he's among the Fremen and he's got that like kind of like Billy Idol flat top. That actually makes him look younger and healthier there than he did with the hair combed forward. And also you've got you have the late William Hurt as Paul's father, the Duke Leto Atreides. Although out of all of the science fiction character names I've heard of over the years, Dune does hold a special distinction of having the dumbest sounding character name of all time. I told my father this name earlier, and I think he agrees with me on this. And that is that the dumbest character name ever in science fiction, Duncan Idaho. Yes, Duncan Idaho. For those who are familiar with Dune, you got to know, yeah, Duncan Idaho. Can you think of a dumber science fiction character name out there besides them? I can't think of anything. Can you? If you can, just say so. I'm not so sure. Maybe you might remember one out there. Or, well, there is Bo-Katan is pretty ridiculous. Or Cassian Andor. Or I told you not to be stupid, you moron. Yes. But Ben Stern, Howard Stern's father, would hear that name, Duncan Idaho, and go, "What kind of moron names their son like that? What kind of a name is Idaho? What are you? What are you a potato farmer, Howard? Howard, are you gonna farm some potatoes, Howard? Howard, you would fall off a moped. You get exhausted lifting a box of cereal up into the pantry, and you're gonna try to go and now be a potato farmer in Idaho, Howard? Howard, you're a moron, Howard. You're a moron. Yeah, I always knew you were a moron. Howard, you're silly, you're stupid. Although there is a more ridiculous name, but he's an NFL player, or was an NFL player. He played for the Lions a while back, named Harry Colon. Yes. In the stupid name Olympics, I would say Harry Colon is pretty damn intense. He's pretty high up there, Harry Colon. Here's one. Snake says Duncan McCuckner. Oh yeah, that's what's some other names out there? Anita Cock. There's Mike Hunt, or how about a Mr. Jack Hoff? I remember, yeah, the Man Show had a segment of guys with unfortunate names, and these are real people that showed up on this. They had them on stage, and yes, there was a guy named Mike Hunt. There's another guy named Charles Cock, and he mentioned his sister's name, Anita Cock.
This guy's real name, played for Nebraska. Birth name is Ian Hip.
And also there's a guy, he played football for Nebraska. His initials are IM and his last name was Hip. Or did anybody else ever remember Coco Crisp in Major League Baseball? Or I think he played for the Cleveland Indians, and another player on that same time of the Cleveland Indians was a guy named Milton Bradley.
We play in the first round of the playoffs Notre Dame.
Oh, that's fun.
But we're the home team.
Well, if you've been following Michigan sports like I have, you see that now the Michigan's men's hockey tournament has now been scheduled, and Michigan has home ice advantage against Notre Dame. So let's see those fighting Irish bastards lose. I want to see those fighting Irish sacks of crap just get smacked, just bitch slap their heinies, just make them pee their pants. I'm gonna pee in your pants. Seriously, those snakes. There was a female lawyer with the name Gay Cox. Oh Lord, that poor unfortunate soul.
I used to date Cindy Cox. She had a married Steve Bond.
I don't know if the microphone picked that up, but yes, there was a girl named Cindy Cox that my father knew.
Golf player. Her name was Cindy Cox.
Cindy Cox, yes.
She's fucking hot.
A lady golfer named Cindy Cox.
The way you make her describe like she's a dyke.
Although,
she's fucking hot.
No, not that type of lady golfer. You know, occasionally we'll find a lady golfer that doesn't look like a trucker woman. Not that type that you would see on Married with Children, some like big bold-like lesbian that would beat up an Al Bundy. Nothing like that. So somebody who, Cindy Cox is definitely not one of those. There's always the exception to the rules like that, even in a sport like lady golf. And also now it's advertising. You see, they're advertising now Hershey's chocolates, but it's like the Hershey's chocolate eggs because we've got our Easter coming up. And there's also going to be St. Patrick's Day, but St. Patrick's Day is less, family friendly. It's more about drinking, so you're probably going to see a lot of booze going up there. And Oh Snake says, I remember her name because
And I dated her
there's
before.
this radio host named Kid Chris would call her office after hours to hear her say gay cocks. Oh well. If you want to see what that lady, that golfer lady looks like, there's the lady.
And Steve Bond went from Chippendales to being on General Hospital.
Certainly not of that shirt, sleeveless flannel shirt with a mohawk type of lady golfer.
He's also in some of those Sedaris movies.
A little different. Yeah, Steve Bond, I remember in some of the early Andy Sedaris movies. Because Andy Sedaris' films actually are very well. He would write and direct them, and his wife is his producer. So both of them were getting some, getting some they couldn't before in doing movies where you saw all these hot playmates, and penthouse pets as action heroes, but you also saw them alongside a bunch of buff dudes.
He was in all those R-rated ones, right?
I'm guessing that.
Look at his birth name and where he's born. Look at his name.
Yeah, I think we looked that up already.
Shlomo Goldberg. And he is from Israel.
Yeah, you look that up, and well, one of them later films in that whole Andy Sedaris filmography includes one playmate lady who actually was really experienced. She was a state trooper that then became a playmate named Roberta Vasquez, and definitely not the type of woman you would be see getting cast in like big mainstream action movies. Although she was a state trooper turned playmate, so you think they'd be into that. But just another example of a woman who actually would be qualified for big action roles that Hollywood would stay as far away from as possible, because that's just how they are. With a rainbow in the dark.
Are any of these Sedaris movies?
No, but Gas Pump Girls is actually a movie available on Prime now for free. And Massacre at Central High, I have seen, and I remember first hearing about that from Spoonie in one of his last movie review videos was his 2-part Massacre at Central High review.
And after I turned them down, guess who did the magazine?
And he also appeared in a Playgirl magazine, Steve Bond, after Massacre at Central High.
I got my sloppy seconds. I never knew he was Shlomo Goldberg, but I would have rolled him into the ground with that one.
At the crossroads of your life.
I met him. I was training for Death Valley. I was in the sauna.
Ooh,
running.
What if we got with the hail with the lady?
You know what he asked me?
What did he ask you?
I come here every night. Do you have a drinking problem? Because one while I was in the sauna jogging.
Jogging in place. Yes, my father would be jogging in place in the sauna to get used to.
The beach. It's not hot. I need to acclimate to the desert.
Well, when my father was training to run across Death Valley, he needed to acclimate himself to the intense heat. So he would do runs where, yes, he would actually go into the sauna at the gym, and he would train by running in place in the sauna.
Bike for 3 or 4 hours and sitting there and pedal.
Or he would bring a stationary bike into the sauna and pedal.
And Steve Bond said he thought I had a drinking problem because I was always trying to sweat it out.
And yeah, no, Steve Bond, my father didn't have a drinking problem. He was trying to sweat out. He would just simply want to make sure that he was getting ready for Death Valley in August. Running across Death Valley in August, that's not, a gentle, uplifting, easy thing to do.
A hot day in Venice was 75.
Especially when you're living and working out of Venice Beach, where 75 was considered a hot day.
75 was the winter there.
So you might just have a little bit of a problem. You might just have a bit of a big deal to deal with.
We're over 2 hours now.
At the crossroads of your life. A little bit of a holy diver right there.
Do a commercial for this. Super Beta Prostate.
And now there's a commercial on C now here for Super Beta Prostate. It's available at Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS. Although when you go there, my father and his Medicare, he has the one that now he's been using to take care of his dental problems. In another week and a half, he's got his root canal to take care of. Another thing it covers is also maybe eye surgery. So he could go eye surgery or get new glasses. He could do one of those, and go and on the side also get as much optometry work as possible to really benefit from his Medicare.
I don't need it. It's Humana, and shit I don't even use.
But it's one of those things. Hey, you got the benefit, now put it to use.
If I need really glasses, I would have already been.
Okay, get that out there, get it in, and clean it up, and make sure. I mean, that's what I would do. What would you do? Get a little out there with the
people get
holy diver.
Get the fucking LASIK surgery, and then you get like Kalina's mom, and she went blind.
Right. Yeah, although LASIK eye surgery, there is the wrong kind of lottery to win with doing that. Or 1 out of 1,000 wind up actually getting blinded by doing that surgery.
She did. She had to go back in for another surgery.
And well, luckily though, there is such thing as surgery where if you wind up getting blinded by that, they can go and take care of the blinding and fix it. It's your you've caused this problem, so you better be fixing it. Because if not, then your ass is grass. You'll be smacking around. Or if not even bothering with going to court for this, I'll just smack the hell out of you. Or I'll get my husband to go in there and smack the hell out of you and make sure that you understand that I was sent in a capsule from a place far from here. And I was sent here for one reason, to attack and to keep coming. Not to ask, but just to give. Not to want, but just to sing. Sing the power of the warriors. And going into the WWF until you get sick of it. Well, you're going to get sick of it because this freaking nature right here is just beginning to swell. And there's going to be nothing left throating through the veins and the power of the warrior. And well, I know that Flashcast is coming up at 10:30. So this will be I'll give you all the link to my art store one last time. You give the link to the store. This is your last chance for super chats or to gift channel memberships or to go and just make yourself a channel member since the memberships start at $2.99. And if you follow the link to my art store, you can make a donation there, and the store donations go directly to me. And when you donate, yes, that means I get the best use out of that because donations in the store do not contribute to the Google Goliath. If you don't like what Google Gemini has been doing, well, you can defy that by simply donating in my store. Just remember that if you are a holy diver. If you want to be the holy diver, because we have some names to take care of, like a lawyer named Gay Cox, or what I mentioned before about Duncan, Idaho, being a ridiculous name, but it's a name that actually exists. I am not fucking kidding you. That was a name.
Magazine, that transsexual. Her name is Cox.
This is a name that's actually made. Like another ridiculous thing, the WWF squirt head. Yes, in the time of the early 90s, the WWF had these squirt heads. There were these little plastic heads, plastic toys. They were bath time toys that would squeeze water when you would pump them. You could have one of Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, the Road Warriors, Ultimate Warrior, I think Jake the Snake. You can play with Jake the Snake in the shower. You can collect Hulk Hogan, but don't collect Hulk Hogan because he sucks. Pump the squirt head with the water, load it with the suds. The WWF squirt head is the new rubber ducky. I am playing with myself in the bathtub. You can feel it, dude. You can feel it. I am the ultimate warrior, and I come from parts unknown. Oh, that's right. The WWF squirt head is available wherever all fine toys are sold. As you, Hulk Hogan, travel to WrestleMania by conventional means, kick the cockpit door in, smash the cockpit door down, and take the two pilots who have already made the sacrifice. Shove that control into a nosedive, Hulk Hogan. Snakes brings up that the host that he mentioned talked about meeting the Road Warriors. They smoked crack out of a Pepsi can and offered him some. Well, if that's true, then I will say I've never seen anybody smoke crack out of a Pepsi can.
They used to come in the cold, I'd see them.
But
crack and lip.
What a rush! And now one of them, Laurinaitis, or I think the nephew of one of them, is now involved with Ohio State.
Oh, son.
Oh no, it's a
his
son.
now. He announces for Big Ten Network.
Yeah, he's an announcer. Yeah, the one Laurinaitis son is now working for the Big Ten Network. There's the other one, John Laurinaitis, who's been involved with the WWE for a while, but not in like a wrestling capacity. I remember CM Punk bringing him up during his whole pipe bomb promo.
Who's the one who wore the shoulder pads?
Yeah, that was the Road Warriors.
Well, they used to come to the gym wearing them.
And my father would see the Road Warriors coming to Gold's Gym wearing their signature football pads with the spikes on them.
They were in character.
They were those kind of guys that, kayfabe wasn't really for them, as in they're the best. They're the kind of example of the wrestlers where it's just their real personality made louder. Well, yeah, there's an example, the Road Warriors. And O Snakes now gives us instructions on how you can go and do that. You poke holes in the can and you put the crack, weed, whatever on the holes. Smoke out of the mouthpiece. Well, okay. Well, I don't smoke anything, so I would never do that. Maybe. Well, I do see that Michigan football now has commemorative Coca-Cola cans. I could go and get one and maybe get one for display and then get another one, just, pour it out on the ground and then make the holes like that for anybody that would want to smoke anything. Although O Snake says I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend that either. I'm not the type to go and do that kind of stuff. That is not for me. At least Abe finds it funny. Hey, you see those guys who want to make bongs out of everything, apples and oranges, or like a giant bong you have to start up like a motorcycle. Put the pot in. Hey man, I made a bong out of my head. You put the pot in this here and then smoke out of this here. Come on. Hey, this box would make an excellent bong. Hey, that TV would make an excellent bong. A VCR, that would make an excellent bong. My father says that Chris uses his butt as a pipe. I don't know about that, although I also wonder if that's even physically possible.
Did you see Wolf of Wall Street?
That would be gross. That would also. I just don't want to think about it because that's just gross. That's just gross. No. I don't speak freaky deaky Dutch. Okay, perv boy? Dr. Level, can I paint this Yoo-hoo gold? It's kind of my thing. How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard? Oh, come on, Fajar. Fajar, can you hear me? Fajar. You're welcome, Austin Powers and Faja. They're dead. They're dead, this Faja. Oh, you mean his father. And No Snakes clarifies that he once made a dope bong out of one of those big snow globe wizard fortune teller toys. When you took a hit, it would say wizard things. I don't know if O Snakes is serious about that, but that would be amazing to see. To see a wizard fortune telling toy that also is a bong. And we got Grim in the chat saying, congratulations on hitting 3K. Well, thank you, Grim, right there. On this moment, a big milestone right there. And O Snakes is serious about having made a bong out of a wizard fortune-telling toy. Well, it's good to know. I'm glad to know. And Nick is in the chat right now. Hello to and Nick says, hey, everyone, just got out of the Arnold. Well, the Arnold Classic, the second night, the Judgment, the winner. So we saw Jay Cutler with the Lifetime Achievement Award, and now we know that there's a winner for the Arnold Classic. So who is the big, lucky, strong man who's coming home from Columbus with the big award? In the name of the Austrian Oak. We are happy to see you here as we celebrate 3,000 subscribers. Like a good subscriber, State Farm is there. Now we have to make sure that I wonder though if the winner of the Arnold Classic will now celebrate with making a bong out of a soda can. He'll take a commemorative Michigan Victory's Pepsi's Coca-Cola can and make a bong out of it. As yes, I did see that Michigan football's national championship victory. Now they have a commemorative Coca-Cola can for it. That'd be something I would love to get my hands on one of those. I don't know how, but I'd love to. A Michigan football Coca-Cola can. I would just open the can and pour it. Or no, to really make it memorable, I would take the can and would just I would keep it. But I wouldn't pour it out. I would keep the can and never open it to really make it commemorative. And yes, a lot of people have been coming into this stream right here to help celebrate reaching 3,000. We've got Snakes coming in. We had Sokka in earlier. We also have other friends coming in like Helen and Grim and Abe and also Sir Ubi-san, making sure we've got a little fun time right here. And somehow Snakes feels more mature now than he did as a 13-year-old. Maybe it's the effect from the Coca-Cola can in the pot you were talking about. Maybe that's it.
They're selling it on eBay.
Or here's one. Now the Coca-Cola cans for Michigan's national championship are available on eBay. And I bet you, just like those Dune 2 popcorn boxes, they're probably being sold for astronomical prices. The smart thing, though, would be to go and get a can and then try to get players or Jim Harbaugh to sign it. If it's a can signed by somebody, then yeah, you jack that price. And we've got 3K subscribers in celebration. Nick is celebrating. Oh, yep. That is a fun time. And it's a great time. And remember, it was 9 months ago that I reached 2,000. So we've got numbers to pump up now if we want to reach the 10K, since we're now here in the early March. So that means we've got the other 3 quarters of the year to get those other 7,000 subs.
$15 or best offer.
Fun. There's a guy on eBay. He's got a Coca-Cola Pepsi can. He's selling it. No, Coca-Cola Michigan football championship can for 15. Okay. And remember, I looked earlier. I looked it up on eBay and saw what those Dune 2 popcorn boxes are doing. And I'm not joking. I saw one that was for $840. Let's see, Dune. Doing popcorn box. No, bucket. Let's go bucket or bowl. All right, well, let's see. Here's the phone.
You know, there's a place called the Coca-Cola store. There's a bottle they're selling. Look.
National Michigan National Championship Coca-Cola bottle. Well, here we go with the, let's see, $49.99, $60, and $49.99 as well. $49.99. We've got $49, $54.99. Here's one. Dune Part 2 metal bucket, $40. $55.99 for one. $50, $59, $49, $41, $44. Here's one. Somebody just has the top, just the sandworm part right there, just the sandworm top of that bucket for, they want $100 just for the top of the popcorn bucket. At least that's what it looks like. Let's click on that one and see what they're showing. Oh, no, wait. It's the full bucket. It's just the first picture it makes it look like. He wants $100 for this Dune 2 popcorn bucket. Would you pay in cash, credit, or blood? Snake says he sees one for $840. Here's one. At least this one comes with a poster too. $79.99 for the Dune popcorn bucket and the IMAX poster. Right, here's one. $89.99 for this Dune popcorn bucket. Because long live the fighters, I guess. All right, here we are. $115 for this. This guy wants $115 for his Dune bucket. What's next? Let's see. $69 right there. Peter Vankrin saying this is why we can't have nice things. Oh, well, here's one. Out of the UK, somebody wants 126 plus $36.85 shipping. Out of here, yeah. Dune buckets were the styles at the time. Trying to find where that big one there, but holy diver. Here's one. Somebody wants a pair of the popcorn buckets for 75. And is it just me, or does that look like either the world's most scary, what's it? The world's scariest fleshlight, or like some kind of Venus flytrap? Would you want a popcorn bucket that looks like you could stick your hand in it and it will bite your hand off? Oh, we found it. Here it is. This is the guy who has the Dune 2 popcorn bucket, $846. $846.36 he wants for this popcorn bucket. There it is.
That person should basically be thrown in prison.
Yeah.
Like all boys, you should be thrown in prison.
And that's one of those situations in life where you look and say, will you pay in cash, credit, or blood? You could go and donate sperm for 2 straight years in order to afford that popcorn bucket, if you feel that way. Yeah, and remember, in the world of Dune, water is so precious on the planet Arrakis that the people who live out on the planet wear still suits. And a still suit's actually an interesting invention, where it's a full body suit you wear that processes all of the water that you sweat out of your body and filters it so that then it can be recycled into drinkable water that gets stored in packets all over the suit. One thing about the new Dune movie over the other ones is that, at least with the still suits, they aren't all black. Because, if you've ever been around in a desert climate at all, the best thing to wear when you're out in the desert is all black. And the still suits in the 80s Dune movie with Sting, yeah, the still suits they look like heavy black leather. While the new one, the still suits look like something you actually would wear in the desert. So we've got that. That's one smart thing about the Villeneuve over David Lynch. A little bit of an improvement there. A little bit of there. So you call a little Arrakis. Oh, I like to play with the Arrakis. I like to play on the desert with the sandworms. I like to play on the sandworms. I like to ride the sandworm. I like that. I think that would be a great prank for someone to go into the theater where Dune 2 is playing. They get one of those popcorn buckets, but they also bring like a fake hand with prop blood. So they put that prop hand in the blood and they bite it off. They act like the thing came alive and bit off their hand. So they run around with the bloody stub screaming to try and scare everybody. The bucket bit my hand off. Ah! And oh yeah, gotcha. It's just prop blood and the severed hand is just a toy. And then they go back to their popcorn and watch the movie. And so anybody remember when Titanic back in the day had its own commemorative bucket? It was the original poster where it was like the side flush rivets of the ship and it just said collide with destiny. Before they had the poster, everyone remembers, where it's DiCaprio and Kate Winslet together over the bow of the ship. That one. Yeah. A little. And that's when we're now, when it comes to science fiction and technology that it predicts or imagines, why isn't anybody trying to go and make a still suit for real? A still suit that can process your sweat or whatever and recycle into drinkable water. Because of how precious bodily fluids are on the world of Arrakis, they have that. And it's actually even almost like a ritual, a spiritual ritual for them and their holy mother that they have. Well, I wonder if Christopher would be the type where if you gave him one of those Dune popcorn buckets, would he use it as a fleshlight? Because it looks like, it also looks like the world's scariest sex toy ever. If you took some, lube around the rim, some KY or maybe lotion or whatever, and you could just, start humping it. Somebody in the theater, wanted to, I don't know, they're really into Anya Taylor-Joy, so they get to her one dream scene in the movie, so they put the lube in the popcorn bucket and start fucking that. Oh, yeah. Like that guy who got busted masturbating to Sydney Sweeney during a screening of Madame Web. That guy, yeah, he was going there ready to spank it to her, even though they make her look as frumpy as possible in the movie, and yet still he was going to town on himself. Very, very dirty, very filthy. That's a filthy man. He's not the good kind of filthy, like filthy animal Taylor. Filthy Animal Taylor of Motorhead fame. He is not. He's just a filthy man who now he's probably gonna have to go and register or something. And if he moves, he has to go on to knock on the doorsteps of everybody and explain what his offense was, and hope nobody shoots him. Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, that guy. He as Snake says, he Pee Wee Herman. Just going away, and well, if you're that desperate to spank it to Sydney Sweeney in public, just remember we've got the police ready for you to see what you've been doing. You really couldn't wait, or you wouldn't just go and do it to the movie she did, Anyone But You, where she's actually in sexy low-cut outfits and in bikinis and all that, where she's waving those gorgeous jugs and juicy ass all over the place for you to see, because she's just that kind of filthy girl. And interesting in the movie that she has a producer's credit on, like Anyone But You, she is in all the sexiest, most low-cut stuff imaginable, compared to ones where she's not, and it's everything with the breast binding. Makes you wonder if she knows what her appeal is better than others. Yeah, Snakes, that the whole thing with how quaint the Pee Wee Herman theater scandal is compared to what went on today. And on top of that, he was there as an adult man in a porno theater, and also a lot of people don't remember he was acquitted. He was actually acquitted of his case, and yet still people don't think about that. And also on that, you look at the VMAs where he made a surprise return appearance as Pee Wee, and it was a big deal there of all the support he got from the public. Instead of the public chastising him, the press, they dug in their claws and all that, but the actual people, they were all for Pee Wee and singing to him and all that. Even I remember Jim Carrey on Living Color did a parody of it with there he is as Pee Wee, and it's the new Pee Wee Turbo doll where he's got the long greasy hair and the beard with the new special automated kung fu grip where he can beat all kinds of things like this drum. Hi, Pee Wee. Hey, boys and girls. Pee Wee's on a brand new adventure. There's a lot of things Pee Wee Herman can beat, except a bum rap. Snakes, actually, I think the crack PSA that Pee Wee did was before he got caught in the theater. This is crack, rock cocaine. It isn't glamorous or cool. I know everybody wants to be cool, but with crack, you won't just be wrong. You could be dead wrong. This is crack. Pee Wee's drug PSA. You remember that? Oh yeah, it happened in 1991, and yeah, actually what happened was he was arrested for indecent exposure, and in short, it led to him spending 75 hours in community service, and yeah, that included other things, many other the whole secret about what happened there. And I believe that the idea was it actually happened afterwards. Part of his community service was doing the whole thing with the crack epidemic. It's not glamorous. It's not cool. You won't just be wrong. You could be dead wrong. And on that, you got to remember, stay away from crack. But you can, smack it around if you're in a movie theater. And then later on, after that, the character actor career that Paul Reubens wound up getting after that whole scandal, including his acclaimed role in the movie Blow as a prolific drug dealer. If you remember that, he's this big, glamorous drug dealer. After he did a decade after his anti-crack PSA. It sounds a little bit like a mixed message there, boys and girls. And you know what else happened? You could actually see Pee Wee on the Arsenio Hall show. He went there, and there he was with Barbie breakfast cereal and talking about this children's charity he was working with. And I think this was all done before the theater incident. Because I remember I know exactly, after the movie theater incident was the VMAs happened, and that was like a big deal of seeing Reubens return to the Pee Wee character after his Playhouse show ended. And he went on stage and then, "Heard any good jokes lately?" And everybody cheering and showing the audience. Yeah, the press may have been digging in their claws, but not the public. They loved Pee Wee. They defended Pee Wee. They wanted Pee Wee to be okay. They, they wanted more Pee Wee. Hence, when he went and brought his stage show back to Broadway, the Pee Wee Herman show on Broadway, that was a big hit. And I still have, and I remember even after he died, I did reread the interview that Rubens did in Playboy to promote the Broadway show version of the Pee Wee Herman stage show. And if you want to see the original Pee Wee Herman stage show, there was an HBO special he did years before even Pee Wee's Big Adventure that got a acclaim, and you can watch that the like VHS rip on YouTube, and including little bits where with Captain Carl and Miss Yvonne and Jambi all there, and Terry the pterodactyl, Mecca Lecca Hi, Mecca Heiny Ho. And yeah, actually, before all that, the Pee Wee Herman character was something he started doing in the 70s and even appeared in character on an episode of The Dating Game. And also before the Herman Show HBO special, there was one of the Cheech and Chong movies he appeared in character as Pee Wee. And if you want to see Pee Wee curse and get into a fist fight, well, you actually see that. And I believe it's Cheech and Chong's next movie was where you get to see Rubens as Pee Wee.
2 minutes ago.
Yeah, that was it. And the thing is, that wasn't the only movie that Pee Wee was in. There was also Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams, where he's not playing the Pee Wee character, but he's still there. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. When Cheech Marin is locked up in the asylum in the padded cell with the straitjacket on, and there's Pee Wee and his mother. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Ha 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 ha. Or the funny bit about how Disney was trying to make Who Framed Roger Rabbit years before they actually made it. And as far back as 1982, there was an animation test done and with Roger looking completely different, the animation live action integration not looking anywhere near as cool. And the voice of Roger is done by Paul Rubens, and it's clearly just him doing the Pee Wee voice. And I'm thank God they didn't go through because wasting Rubens on doing the Pee Wee voice, the character on that terrible Roger Rabbit incarnation would have been just just don't. Snakes clarifies. He says, "I thought it was the Things Are Tough All Over that Pee Wee appeared in." Well, I know there was I think 6 Cheech and Chong movies, and one of them though they got stupid and not having Cheech and Chong in the name. Yeah, there was one that they just called Things Are Tough All Over, which is like what happened with Monty Python. With Monty Python's first movie, it was called And Now for Something Completely Different. And it wasn't really a movie. It was just like a cinematic like sketch show. It was all the best skits from the first couple of years of their show, and it reshot them as a movie. Then came the Holy Grail and Life of Brian and The Meaning of Life. But hey, they still had, yeah, Cheech and Chong's next movie, and then Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. Yeah, 1980, Cheech and Chong, that film, Cheech and Chong's next movie. There's Paul Rubens in his Pee Wee character. And there he is actually on stage. Okay. Yelling at Cheech and Chong in the crowd with his Pee Wee character. The red bow tie and everything. The common rad.
They did a Christmas one.
And then after that was Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams, where he appears as himself. Because, man, you want to get high, man. You like that? You do. I like to go there. I like to do it. I want to just have a little bit of the fun. I would like to have some fun right there and get you a little bit of the mañana hula poco. And of course, there's also this of Pee Wee and Tommy Chong with cocaine.
But this Big Yank was in that same movie you're talking about. Big Yank was
yes.
Was
Pee Wee with cocaine. Imagine imagine how much more hyper Pee Wee Herman would have been if he was pounding the cocaine. It would have been very crazy. You would have found a little something there that would have made him all kinds of nutty. Instead of just making him a silly guy. Yeah, there with the Pee Wee Herman show.
You know who else was in that movie? Buddy Zabel, the Master of World Gym.
I can't believe that anybody out there in the world of Pee Wee Herman land would ever want to do that. But yes, so Snakes, I confirmed it. Snake says your memory is better than mine. I'll take your word. Yeah, it was Cheech and Chong's next movie that was the first cinematic appearance of Pee Wee Herman, and in a very, very, very R-rated context compared to what we know him for. Even at like the most raunchy, Pee Wee Herman is more based on innuendo than in anything directly, perverted. So it's a big surprise. And it was a very, very much a big shock out there. It's still retroactively to look at all the things that Pee Wee did over the years and see, oh my God, he did that. Yeah, that it was the fourth Cheech and Chong movie that was called "Things Are Tough All Over," which, as I say, was a stupid thing to do to not have their names in the title, so then you don't have that brand recognition. I mean, what do I know? It's like just kind of a more of a common sense thing you think they'd have, but apparently not.
Won't let me type more.
Okay, here's one. Helen says that my grandmother and I were walking to a church and found a record on the road. She took it home, and it was the first time I heard Cheech and Chong. Class. I got the stuff. Who is it? Oh, it's Dave. Oh, no, man. Dave's not here. No, man, it's me. I got the stuff. All right, then. Who are you? What stuff you got? It's Dave. I told you, man. Dave's not here. Oh, man. I want to. And well, Cheech and Chong, they did start out doing comedy clubs as like a duo on stage. So them doing comedy clubs on stage and getting a big movie series was similar vein to the success of Pee Wee later on. So one ascension, moisturizing the other. Very much something of paying it forward in the business. Although definitely Pee Wee Herman had a far more across all ages appeal and level of success than Cheech and Chong, which was explicitly adult, but hey, that was the 70s. And either way, it still worked. It still led to a big success for both of them across decades that they'll always be known for. But at least Cheech and Chong are actually still around. If you listen to them, yeah, both, as much as they really were into the drugs, it's still funny to see that they're actually alive and around more than Paul Rubens is. And as Nick confirms, yes, Luke knows all the pop culture references. That's why if I am blanking on something, then it must be something obscure if even I don't understand it or I've never heard of it. But things like Cheech and Chong, you want to get high, man, or the very first movie they did where they literally go to Mexico and come back across the border in a truck made of marijuana. Yes, they make an entire truck out of marijuana. I wish I were joking about that, but no, they make an entire truck out of their favorite dope. Because they've got a big special thing to do, man. Hey, I'm just a little. Hey, what are you doing, me? You trying to persecute me because I'm Mexican? You trying to go a little bit of a it there? Now Nick is on his way home from the Arnold. He's going to hit up Wendy's first, though. All right. Well, we can guess what Nick will be getting from Wendy's tonight as he's heading home from the Arnold Classic. I know they have bacon cheeseburgers. Maybe that. He could go and order some bacon cheeseburgers, or well, then again, it's his order. He can make whatever he wants. We can all just make a guess out of it. As we also guess how many people are going to use the Dune popcorn buckets to have sex with them. It must be good stuff. It turned to blue. Well, there's some of that stuff out there, man, that's very sharp. You can take it around and get a little bit of a buzz from all that, man. If you really want to get high, man, you want to try something a little more loose. Because I got something here you tried, you'll be feeling like, "Whoa, man, what's this I'm doing here?" What's this thing I got? It's a hand, man. What's this do? What does this do, man? I don't know. You use it to hold weed. Don't you understand that, Konya? You do it to hold the weed, and then you're going to have the fun.
Same thing, cross check. We got 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. Each question.
Why? Because I do that to avenge my brother. He drank himself to death on your crappy beer. Cheech Marin, everyone. Cheech Marin. Can I at least get a Chumbawamba call? Chumbawamba gobbledygook. Ah. 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 I remember that from Family Guy, the Willy Wonka parody they do where he trips and hits his knee, and it's just like a solid minute of wincing back and forth, holding his knee in pain. Then later on in the episode, it turns out he's a brilliant piano player when he's drunk. He even performs at the Hollywood Bowl, I think. You're like the idiot from Shine. Come on, keep playing, keep playing. I wonder how much of Peter's brain cells have been destroyed. You ever think, my God, I'm married to that guy? I just bury it all down. Are you sure? Is that healthy? I'm a tumor, I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor, I'm a tumor, I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor, I'm a tumor, I'm a tumor. Oh, I'm a tumor. Yeah, that's fun. Because things are tough all over. If you understand how to eat that way that you do, I want to go and get the chiquita, but I tried to get the chiquita, and all I end up with is a chiquita banana. I'm tired of that, man. I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. Oh, here's another stereotype: the sleepy Mexican. Oh no, I'm just a janitor, but oh God, I'm so tired. The sleepy Mexican. That's the plight of the sleepy Mexican is something that we all must go and contribute to, and we can do great charity work in helping the sleepy Mexicans be less drowsy. Because they can get so tired, man. You like to go, you like to play. I want to play, but oh my God, I just have to try to wake up. Where's the coffee? Maybe if I go around a little bit, do some jogging, I can have a little fun. Go into the sauna and either run in place or get on a stationary bike in the sauna to acclimatize to Death Valley. You'll be sweating an awful lot, and other patrons will be looking at you thinking that you're a drunk trying to sweat out alcohol. No, I'm training for running across Death Valley in August for Jerry's kids. It's a far more noble reason for doing this than, like, say, Rodney Dangerfield in his prime, when he'd be going to, steam rooms or whatever, and there he'd be, like, trying to sweat out all the problems.
And how do you make $1 million from the steam room?
Although, at least with Rodney Dangerfield later on, when he was steaming away all the drugs and booze, it wound up getting to his eyes got damaged in a Las Vegas steam room, and he successfully sued Caesar's Palace. They wound up paying him $1 million check settlement for damaging his vision. And it's bad enough, you grow up like me. I never had any fun. When I grew up, my father said he wanted a boy. I was so luckily growing up. My father put me in a dog show. I won. I think about all these other things. A girl I knew, she said, "Come over to the house. There's nobody home." I went to her house. There's nobody home. I tried doing push-ups in the nude. I didn't see the mouse trap on the ground. Here, look at this couple. They lost their shirt. Look at them. They lost their shirt. I'll tell you. I'll tell you that. No. Hey, I'll tell you. I'm so ugly. When I die, they have to donate my body to science fiction. Hey, hey, here now. Now give me some Grey Poupon. Yeah, perfect. Hey, what's going over here? You got a little problem here. I was so ugly. The doctor slapped my mother. Maybe what we do here is a little bit of a fun time. Growing up, I didn't want to kiss her face. I ended up kissing her ass. But hey, what else am I gonna do? And I'm lying here, shot in the ass. Can I call you Dad now? No. Maybe. Siskel and Ebert saw my most recent movie. They each gave me one finger up. And O Snake says, bless Dangerfield for promoting people like the Dice Man. Oh, this next comedian, he's, I would call, the typical boy next door. Here he is, Andrew Dice Clay. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. So along came a spider, sat up beside and said, "Hey, what's in the bowl, bitch?" Little boy Blue, he needed the money. Jack and Jill went up the hill, each with $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50. You think that's it? Oh! Hey, diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon. That's more than my lazy wife does, the fat fucking smelly baboon. Oh. Hold on a second. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her old dog a bone. She bent over. Rover took over. Oh! Old King Cole was a merry old soul. A merry old soul was he. He chewed off his tit and ate his own shit and washed it down with some tea. Oh! You want to think that there? You think that's a lot? I got plenty more right there. Mary had a little lamb. Her father shot her dead. Now it goes to school with her between two chunks of bread.
Just get off the ice. This fucker's going to get him to go review the play. He's going to get him to
Here's fun. Here what else we got to do.
You cocksucker.
Georgie Porgy, pudding and pie, kissed the girls and made them cry. When the boys came out to play, he kissed them too. Hey, sometimes you don't need the big punchline. You just need to go and do a little study right there. That's right. You understand? You study, you learn the rhymes. And Nick brings up, remember when Rodney Dangerfield as Mr. Burns' son on The Simpsons? Oh, there's some party here. If it gets any livelier, the funeral's going to break out. Oh, yeah. I remember that. And he's trying to get, he's trying to get Dangerfield to go to, I believe, a Yale. And then when all of the school administrators talk to Mr. Burns afterwards, he describes all the ways that he was making fun of them. Yes, and then he proceeded to make fun of my weight and ask Mrs. Levinson over here if she was willing to go with him out clubbing, to go out to a bar tomorrow night if she wore a grocery bag over her head. Yeah, actually, if you really remember. And Dangerfield's thinking, oh, no more of this party, no more booze. And it's Homer who suggests that they just stage a phony kidnapping. And Dangerfield and Homer go with the phony kidnapping. Phony kidnapping. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, that was one of those Simpsons episodes I would see on afternoons on Fox where they'd have the block of reruns of Simpsons, Seinfeld, and Friends before they'd get to their primetime stuff. I apparently have a memory like Fringy on EFAP, fucking on point. Well, if I ever was invited on the EFAP, then I'd be able to really prove it to the rest of them. Although I would have to remember that those usual EFAP streams take 10 hours. So I'll be on there and I could probably get up, go out to eat, go shop for new shoes, maybe even go and finish reading one of the other Dune books and then get back to the stream and be perfectly fine. But that's why, hey, the things I've done to get just this far with 3,000 subs. I go there, I have the memory, I have the skills, I cultivate the skills, I cultivate the memory. I develop all of those things you got to do in order to be the kind of person that puts you above all else. And at this moment right now, I'm at 3,000 subs. But do not worry, there's going to be another 1,000 and another 1,000 and another 1,000 until I got so many thousand subs, I feel like a pimp in Times Square in 1976. Yeah, that's right. Growing up there, I didn't have much fun. I wanted to go fishing. My father took me to a pet shop and said, just look at them. We got a little thing over there to see. Whatever's going on next now. Yeah. Just take those old records off the shelf.
3 hours.
And now on that note, Since we were up to 3,000, we got to get back and make another 7,000 to reach my goal for the year. So I thank you all for watching for this time, whether you're the most recent subscriber or you're long running like Nick, all of you, I bless every single one of you for another 3,000, another 3,000, and another 3,000. So subscribe so my channel will reach the 10,000 subscriber goal for the year. Become a channel member. And remember, the memberships only start at $2.99. And also, don't forget to shop my art store at the second link below, where you'll see all the artwork I have there, along with commissions that are available. And you can even donate to my store. Since store donations are the first thing you see, any denomination is accepted. So when you buy my art, you go there and make sure when you donate, that money goes directly to me. And if you want to buy or commission me from outside of America, just make your payment as a donation by adding up what you want in US dollars with another 25 US for the international shipping and handling fee, and your items will ship immediately. So remember, tomorrow I have shorts at 5 and 5:30. I have a new video premiering at 6:30, and I'll be live again tomorrow at 8 as Michigan just won against Minnesota in overtime in men's hockey. So felines, slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.